Thrice beaten Tuscola out of a great conference, the Oka Valley, and a great contrast in styles to get it going here.
Absolutely. Two rich in tradition programs. They haven't been here for a while. Lexington comes in with one of the premier players in the state of Illinois running the football. Tuscola will spread them out today offensively, so it should be a great contrast in styles. It's a perfect day to run, perfect day to throw. I look for really to have some fun today.
Yeah, for late November, certainly warm temperatures and not very much wind. The road to Champaign for the Minutemen from Lexington. There you see the road. It certainly wasn't easy for the Minutemen to get here. They come here undefeated. That semifinal game at Lena Winslow was tied 14-14 in the fourth quarter before T.J. Stindy took over with a couple of long touchdown runs to vault the Minutemen into the title game for the 5th time in school history. Now for Tuscola, Steve, in the championship game for the 3rd time in 4 years.
Absolutely right. A lot of these kids are familiar with the surroundings here at Memorial Stadium. They're going to need that today against a very good Lexington team. You look at the points that they have scored coming into this game. They're a very explosive team, but both coaches are kind of calling for a low-scoring football game today, Jim.
Yeah, both teams play pretty good defense, and we looked at the road. Now, how about some key players? And we start off with Lexington. We've mentioned T.J. Stindy, and let's take a look at him right now. Just the all-time leading rusher in the state of Illinois.
Well, you look at that number, rush yards. You know, that's for a season, folks. That's not for a career. 3,197 yards. Phenomenal running back, a lot of power.
And an all-stater, and another all-stater, Steve. As a defensive key player, Jesse Kemp, he's a great linebacker.
Well, he could be also the offensive player, too. He's the fullback, blocks for T.J. Stindy. But on defense, he has 100 tackles coming into this game. Phenomenal player, plays with a lot of emotion.
And now for Tuscola, we're going to talk about, do you believe this, in a state championship game? We're going to talk about a couple of sophomores as key players for the traditional power Tuscola, starting with their quarterback, Philip Meyer, thrust into the starting role just before the start of the season.
Right. Didn't know he was going to be the quarterback to start the season. Judd Winkie was hurt at the beginning of the season. Very good numbers, 2,300 total yards that he's put up this year coming in, and he's a phenomenal talent.
And a great leader, and pound for pound, Coach Reinhardt says the toughest player on the team. And another sophomore as a key defender at a linebacker position, T.J. Onstadt.
100 tackles you see right there. Another sophomore. It's amazing that these kids are that good, but Coach Reinhardt has confidence in him. He's the leader of that defense. Look for him to make a lot of tackles today.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we've talked about the key players. Right now, let's meet all of the starters for this Class 1A state championship football game between Lexington and Tuscola. And for that, let's turn it over to Memorial Stadium public address announcer Jeff Fritzen.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, here are the starting lineups for the Class 1A IHSA State Football Championship. First, the defense from Lexington. Head coach for the Minutemen, Mike Castleman. Defensive line, number 66, Weston Gresham. Defensive line, number 65, Steve Kolat. Defensive line, number 55, Alec Wasson. Defensive line, number 61, Kyle Taylor. At linebacker, number 1, John Schuler. At linebacker, number 3, T.J. Stindy. Linebacker, number 2, Jesse Kemp. Linebacker, number 30, Anthony Fight. Defensive back, number 15, Paul Harrison. Defensive back, number 22, Connor Kelly. And a defensive back, number 34, Dylan Miller. And now for the Warriors of Tuscola, head coach Rick Reinhardt. And the Warrior offense at center, number 52, Jack Leonard. At guard, number 59, Chase Little. At tackle, number 78, Colby Clow. At guard, number 76, Trace Quinn. At tackle, number 53, Jared Baird. Wide receiver, number 84, Pat Yoakum. Wide receiver, number 1, Gunnar Edwards. Wide receiver, number 12, Cody Shelmadine. At wide receiver, number 81, Tyler Clark. Running back, number 8, Josh Scribner. And at quarterback, number 20, Philip Meyer.
You see an aerial shot from high atop Memorial Stadium in Champaign, side of the state championship games in IHSA football since 1999. There are the keys to the game for the Minutemen. Steve, ride the horse. What are we talking about there?
Obviously, that's riding TJ Stindy. You know, we talked about him in our pregame. Comes in with over 3,100 yards rushing. They've got to give him the ball 30 times today to have success.
He averages 26 carries a game and well over 200 yards. What about home run chances?
Well, we threw that in there just because, you know they're going to go to Stindy a lot. They're going to have to take a couple chances with their quarterback and throw down the field.
And then back to Lexington real quick, no yak.
Yeah, that's a defensive one we put in there because they can't allow yards after catch. After Tuscola catches that ball, they got to come up and hit people.
We'll come back to Tuscola's keys a little bit later on. We're just about set and ready for the opening kickoff of this ball game. And Lexington won the toss, and they elected to defer their decision until the second half. So Mike Emberton has it teed up at the 40-yard line, and we're just about set and ready to get going with 24 hours of football here on the IHSA television network. And the 1A game is underway with a kick to the right. And Gunnar Edwards for Tuscola is going to take it out to about the 29-yard line. The All-State defensive back has an 18-yard return. And there you see the offensive line up front for Tuscola. Baird, Quinn, Leonard, Little, and Clough. A solid group up front. Not overly big, but big and strong and solid. In the backfield, the sophomore Philip Meyer, we talked about him. Interesting story as to how he got the starting job. We'll talk about that as the afternoon continues. Cody Shelmadine is a solid receiver. Gunnar Edwards outside has caught over 50 passes this year for the Warriors. And it's a running play. And Meyer, the quarterback, the leading rusher for this team. Meyer has rushed for 830 yards. He carries out across the 30 on the opening play of the game. Up front for Lexington, Steve, they run out of a 4-4 defense.
And they're going to stay in that today. We talked to Coach Mike, and he said that's exactly what they're doing. They'll walk out some linebackers, but there you see the linebackers as well, led by Jesse Kemp, our defensive key to the game.
Very active linebackers and defensive backs, and Steve, they love to hit.
That's exactly what they do. They base their defense off of strength and speed, and they will come up and pop you.
Second down and 6. And Meyer from the shotgun, and we've got penalty flags, and we're going to hear from our referee from the first time, Joe Stieglitz, here in just a moment.
Back.
So that penalty will cost the Warriors 5 yards. Just into the first game of 8 here at Memorial Stadium on just a gorgeous day. It's going to be even better tomorrow. It's going to get in the upper 40s today. As you see our crew, Joe Stieglitz, the referee, Bud Gorman, Ron King, Brian Mason, Joe Stieglitz, and Pete McGinnis. And congratulations to them, because just like the players, Steve, those referees have to earn their way here into the title game.
Rated after every football game that they participate in, and obviously it's an honor to be here.
Meyer on the option pitch, and the ball is loose, a fumble. The pitch back was intended for Josh Brookings, and the ball comes loose, and the first turnover of this championship game goes in favor of the Minutemen.
I think TJ Stindy, number 3, was the linebacker flowing on that, and he recovers this football. Really couldn't see who the corner was. It might have been John Schuler, number 1, comes up with a big pop right there. Good hit. That's actually Jesse Kemp with the hit on the quarterback, and Lexington does get that football, as we do have an injured player down for Tuscola.
That appears to be the sophomore running back, Josh Brookings, who was the intended target of that option pitch from Philip Meyer. And injuries, Steve, are something this Tuscola team has been dealing with all season long. They've played their way into the title game despite an unusually high number of big injuries, season-ending injuries, that sort of thing.
Well, talking to Coach Reinhardt, he said they lost 3 two-way linemen for the year this year. I mean, that is very hard to replace, and to be in the championship game is amazing.
As you look at the tale of two cities, Lexington and Tuscola. Tuscola just down the road from Champaign, about a half an hour away in Douglas County. Lexington in the Bloomington-Normal area with an enrollment of 190. Tuscola out of the Oka Valley Conference, and Lexington champions of the Heart of Illinois Conference. And Tuscola, the first member of 3 from the Oka Valley that will be playing for state titles today here at Memorial Stadium. So Lexington takes over after the turnover, and Chris Beard, the quarterback, is going to hand off. Who's that guy? TJ Stindy.
Heard of him before, haven't we?
And up front, the offensive line for the Minutemen. And the only returning starter is Colott up front as the center, the smallest of those offensive linemen. Beard, the quarterback, Kemp and Stindy at fullback and tailback are both All-Staters, and then Vessler, Emberton, and Schuler. Schuler's been banged up a little bit. He might not play a lot on offense here in the ballgame today.
Coach thought he'd play a lot of defense for him today. I think they need just his athleticism on the football field.
They toss it to Stindy, working off the left side, and he's going to lose yardage. Boy, this Tuscola defense has been so good all year. We're going to check their starters right now. They run out of a 35 alignment with Baird, Leonard, and Quinn up front. And then any 35 alignment has active linebackers that fly to the football, and that's exactly what Tuscola has.
Well, it has the possibility of turning into a 5-3 as well. They'll walk up their outside linebackers and play a little bit of 50 against them. The interesting stat right here is Tuscola's defense has only given up 6 points in the first quarter all year. So Lexington with great field position. Let's see if they can put any points on the board.
And on 3rd and long, they're going to run it to Stindy. Stindy breaking tackles. He's got a first down and more inside the 15 down to about the 12 on a run of 18 yards for TJ Stindy. And it's the first down of this 1A state championship game.
You know, the amazing thing about Stindy is he doesn't look that big. He doesn't look that fast. He doesn't look that strong, but he just gets the job done. That was a great job by the offensive lineman right there. A little counter action, and Lexington, you know what they're going to do. 3 plays, they've handed it off all 3 times to TJ Stindy.
Stindy averaging 26 carries and 246 yards per game. He's had 11 games of 200 or more yards. He's been over 200 in every playoff game, including a 300-yarder in their first-round win over the Bunnies of Fisher, and we've got penalty flags. And we might have to delay a game here. The play clocks are at 0.
Delay game, white.
So the first penalty on the Minutemen. We'll move it back a little bit. The line of scrimmage will now be the 16 on the Tuscola side of the field.
You see the whole Lexington team looking over to the sideline. Mike Castleman does make the calls from the sideline. He does give Chris Beard, the quarterback, a little bit of leeway with audibles, but Mike Castleman is going to make the final decision for what play they're going to run offensively.
So 1st and 15. Stindy has got a hole up the middle, and he lowers his head and fights his way down to about the 9-yard line.
Wow, what a collision you had right there between number 50, TJ Onstadt, the inside linebacker for Tuscola, and Jesse Kemp, the fullback for Lexington. I mean, what a collision, and you're going to see that all morning today.
Tuscola only giving up defensively less than 5 points per game on the year. They've tossed 7 shutouts, including 2 in their playoff run. 2nd down and 9 after the 6-yard run by TJ Stindy. Stindy again dots the I, and we got penalty flags again.
A little movement by the Tuscola defensive line, I think, threw off.
Dead ball, false start, white, 5-yard penalty, repeat, 2nd down.
When you're a running type of team, those little 5-yard penalties can be very, very annoying to Coach Castleman and company.
There you see the season scoring for Lexington. Really incredible what they did throughout the course of the regular season, averaging 44 a game. And I think the most impressive stat is that 3.8 on defense. They play in an unbelievable conference for Class 1A.
Yeah, the Heart of Illinois, and
right.
Ran through it undefeated into this title game. Kemp wants to throw for the first time. Firing to the right. Got a man out there, but off his hands and incomplete.
Boy, what a great throw by Chris Beard. I tell you, I went and watched their practice this week out at Illinois State on Tuesday. Chris Beard is a big kid, 6'3", 185 pound, and a junior. He can really fling the ball, and we're going to see a great replay from the end zone here. You see Beard standing in the pocket. That's a nice throw right there. That one's got to be caught if Lexington's going to have success throwing the football today.
All right, now 3rd and long, 3rd and 14. And Beard under center for this 3rd and long play. Wants to throw again, firing for the end zone, jump ball, and it is going to be intercepted. Gunnar Edwards with the interception, his 8th of the year. An interception in the end zone. And Tuscola is going to take over at the 20-yard line after they thwart a Lexington scoring attempt here in the opening minutes of this 1A state championship game. We'll be back to Memorial Stadium in Champaign after this network timeout. Defense in the semifinal victory last week and gets one here, and a fumbled snap back to the sophomore quarterback Philip Meyer, and Meyer has to just dive on it, and now it's going to be 2nd and long for the Warriors.
Pretty sloppy start to this football game. 2 series, 1 by each team, and a turnover by each team. Tuscola just puts the ball on the turf a little bit right there. You can see Coach Reinhardt on the sideline not very happy as he pulls his quarterback Philip Meyer over to the sideline to try and get something going with this offense.
These teams are accustomed to winning, but it's different here at Champaign. State title game, that little bit of pressure here at the beginning, has some nerves here in the early going in this one. Again, from the shotgun, this will be the formation that Tuscola uses most of the time. They're going to run Yoakum, and a penalty flag comes in on the play.
Another ball on the ground again. Yeah,
but I think they might have already whistled him down. Pat Yoakum on the carry, but there was a penalty flag on the play. We'll check that out. The officials have been active here in the early going.
Well, it looks like there are people a little jumpy there on the front 5 for each team.
Talking to TJ Stindy, looks like it's going to be a procedure penalty on the Warriors of Tuscola.
Illegal formation on the block, decline, 3rd down.
More than likely, not enough men on the line of scrimmage out of their spread offense. No matter what offense you run, you have to have 7 guys on the line of scrimmage somehow. And Tuscola gets whistled for the infraction there. So it brings up 3rd down and 16. The penalty decline, and on that jet sweep sort of play that Tuscola ran with Yoakum, lost yardage on it, and Lexington declines the penalty. Meyer steps up in the pocket, and he's going to run. The sophomore to the 20 and drop there. Got most of the lost yardage back to the original line of scrimmage, but a punting situation for the Warriors.
Good coverage by Lexington in the secondary. They brought out their linebackers, put them in the flats, and once again Philip Meyer was forced to run the football, something he's done really well. We talked about it. He had 194 carries coming into this game, 830 yards, so he's not afraid to run the football from the quarterback position.
So Yoakum, Pat Yoakum is the punter. He plays receiver and runs the ball, as we saw just a little bit ago. He's a defensive back on defense and also plays golf for Tuscola. Was an all-conference golfer, so played both football and golf. And he goes up and gets a high snap and gets the punt away.
Well, thank God he has good hands as a receiver, because that one almost went through the back of the end zone right there. Tuscola is playing a little bit of disadvantage. Their first-string punter earlier in their season, about the 3rd game of the year, broke a leg. So, you know, a little pressure that Yoakum has.
All right, Lexington will take over when we come back to Memorial Stadium after this local timeout.
Little injury update for you here right now. Number 30, Josh Brookins, went down on the first offensive series for Tuscola. They were feeling his rib area. He seems to have some pain there. They put a special protective jacket around his midsection. He's back in there. In fact, now he's playing on defense. Number 30, Josh Brookins, looks like he's okay. Guys?
All right, good news for an already injury-depleted Tuscola team. Lexington takes over with excellent field position at the Tuscola 45. Stindy looking for the bounce out, and he gets it. But good pursuit by the Warriors as they continue to push Stindy to the near sideline and knock him out of bounds.
It was a nice play right there by number 84, Pat Yoakum. Came up, stood up the blocker for Stindy way wide right there. Wasn't able to pick up any yards. Actually lost a couple.
So it's going to be 2nd down and 12. You look at Stindy, 5 carries for 25 yards so far in the ball game. The state's all-time leading rusher, 3,197 yards coming in, averaging 9.5 yards per carry. He dots the I once again as Beard is going to toss it to him now. And they run a reverse coming to the near side. Emberton looking for the corner, And gets a little bit of yardage, but you see the speed and the reactive sense of this Tuscola defense, Steve.
That's right. That's what Coach Reinhardt has talked about. You see the trench, before I make that comment, you see the trenches right there. Lexington's not real big, as Jim's mentioned a couple times up front, only average of 208 across the front. Tuscola, you know, a little bit smaller, 205 across their defensive front.
And I think that's kind of typical for 1A. I mean,
right.
these are typical 1A teams, not too big, but they rely on athleticism and speed. Both teams very similar in that regard with athleticism and strength. So 3rd and 11 here for the Minutemen. Beard to throw. Now he's going to tuck and run. Firing late and incomplete. It was intended downfield.
Well, I think he was across the line of
Jesse
scrimmage.
Kempen, and there is a flag on the field, and I do believe you might be right. Jesse Kemp out of the fullback position. You see him going back to the huddle there. He was the intended receiver way downfield. And they're talking to Josh Scribner, linebacker and one of the defensive captains for Tuscola, about this penalty.
Back him up here or decline this. It will be 4th down if they decline the penalty.
Illegal forward pass on the white. Loss of down. Be 4th down.
So a punting situation after the penalty. And let's see if Lexington can pen Tuscola back. Josh Jackson, a sophomore, on to punt. Only attempted 26 punts this year. It shows how good Lexington's offense is.
Good punt right here.
And a fair catch called for, and then bobbled, and then covered up, and no, it was still loose. And they're going to.
Got that football.
They did. Another turnover. Alec Wasson.
I believe that's who it was, number 55. Alec Wasson came in. Actually, he was downfield, went past the returner, and came back into the field to play and recovered that football. Here's a good view from it, nice high in the air. You're going to see the fumble. And you see Wasson right there come back into the field to play and fall on that football. What a great play by him.
Well, this Tuscola defense has already made a stop after a turnover deep in Warrior territory. Now they're going to have to do it again, as after the fumbled punt and the second Tuscola turnover, Lexington takes over at the 25-yard line on the Warrior half of the field. There you see the turnover count so far, and we're still in the first quarter. Stindy with the carry off the right side to about the 22.
Tuscola's defensive front, Jack Leonard, Trace Quinn, Jared Baird, they're doing a nice job standing up those offensive linemen for Lexington. Lexington's really not getting the push that they've been used to getting all year. And as we talked about earlier on, base 3-5 defense, but they have walked up those outside linebackers. Basically, it's a 5-man front with 2 linebackers back behind. You got 7 guys in the box. You can count them right there. This time they'll bring 8.
Beard, the junior quarterback, misdirection, and on the carry for Tuscola, for Lexington, Anthony Fight with the carry. And again, Tuscola's defense just is everywhere. I mean, it almost seems like they play with 12 or 13 guys.
Right, they're getting a lot of penetration. I mean, we can really see it from as high as we are here at Memorial Stadium. They are getting a great push up front and kind of overwhelming the offensive linemen for Lexington right now.
So 3rd and long again for Lexington. Not a situation that you want to be in when you are a predominant running team. They're going to go with a trips formation to the top of your screen, and Beard is going to roll that way. Firing down the field, and he's got a man. It's a first down, and making the catch, Fight. First down on the pass play.
Well, we talked about it as one of our keys to the game, that they were going to have to take home run chances, and this is one of them right here. Chris Beard does a nice job. There's a very small window to get that football in, and all of a sudden Anthony Fight is becoming a key player in this football game, Jim.
A 13-yard pass play on 3rd and 11. Anthony Fight, a 5'10", 185-pound junior, making that catch and setting up the Minutemen at the 13-yard line. Here comes Stindy. Good pursuit again by the Tuscola defense. TJ Onstadt was in the vicinity once again, as you see the numbers for Mr. Stindy. not the biggest running back, not the fastest running back, but maybe the strongest running back that you're going to see.
A lot of his strength and power comes from his legs and lower section of his body. I went to their practice, as I mentioned, on Tuesday, and he's very well put together and a very strong kid and very humble in what he has done this year. Gives a lot of credit to his offensive line and wide receivers who do all the blocking for him.
2nd and 9 after the 1-yard run. Little play action. The pass is in the air and incomplete. Intended for Paul Harrison. Harrison caught a touchdown pass for Lexington last week. Their semifinal win at Lena Winslow.
Chris Beard was a little more patient right there. He did have number 5, Mike Emberton, running in the back of the end zone wide open. You saw Beard motioning to him, get across the field, you're wide open, but Emberton stopped his route a little bit. That could have been a touchdown for Lexington.
All right, 3rd and long again, 3rd and 9. Lexington 2 of 3 on 3rd down. Little misdirection to Stindy, trying to get him to the outside. And once again, Tuscola all over it. Stindy goes nowhere, and it's 4th down. And let's see if Mike Emberton, who's kicked 5 field goals this year, he's 5 for 5. Let's see if Mike Castellman and company will try to get 3 points here.
Well, I think you have to, and I think watching Emberton in practice this week, he's got plenty of leg. Talking to Coach Mike Castleman, he has plenty of leg. They've seen him make up to a 50-yarder in practice, but it's a little bit different here on the turf at Memorial Stadium.
This is going to be a 31-yard field goal attempt. There you see a little bit of an angle to the right. High snap, but it's placed and the kick is up, and it is no good. It's wide right, and again, Tuscola dodges a bullet after a turnover deep inside its own territory. We stay scoreless here in quarter number 1.
Plenty of leg right there by Emberton, just off to the right, just a little bit from our vantage point here in the press box.
And our trivia question brought to you by the Chicago Sun-Times and YourSeason.com, the ultimate source for Chicagoland high school sports. Class 1A had the most 6-3 playoff teams in 2009. How many did they have?
I'm sure you know that answer.
I'm stumped.
I'm stumped too.
I gotta wait. Stick around, folks. We'll have the answer for you a little bit later on. So the Warriors take over on offense. Oh boy, and that play is going nowhere. For Lexington, Kyle Taylor was all over that one.
That's right, defensive end position, 5'10", 165. Only a junior, but a very good defensive end for Lexington.
And our answer is 11.
Okay.
11 6-3 teams. Of course, Tuscola was one of those teams.
Right.
Tuscola at one point this year was 3-3 and wondering if they were going to even make the playoffs.
And facing Maroa Forsyth in that next game, and to the possibility to go 3-4, but somehow we're able to beat them 28-0 and really kickstart their season.
They've won 7 in a row, and here they are playing for the state title, and pass to the far sideline is incomplete. It was intended for Yoakum, underthrown, and it brings up 3rd down and 14 yards to go for the Warriors.
Looks like Philip Meyer just guided that pass a little bit. He's got to turn it loose and just let it fly. Good look right there of Rick Reinhardt on the Tuscola side. Boy, he was fired up this morning when we went down early and talked to him. He was a little bit nervous, you could tell.
Good guy in his 2nd season, a Tuscola grad, coming back to his alma mater a couple of years ago.
1970 grad. He did tell us he was 10 years old at the time.
So. Yeah, he was 10 when he graduated.
That's right.
Philip Meyer, his quarterback, wearing number 20, wanted to throw. Nobody open, tried to run, nowhere to run. He's tackled, and that might be the final play of the opening quarter here at Memorial Stadium. As you see your clock on your screen ticking down here, and we're going to see a Tuscola punt when we come back for the 2nd quarter. The Tuscola defense has dodged a couple of bullets here in the 1st quarter, and we are scoreless here in the Class 1A state championship game. We will return to beautiful Memorial Stadium in Champaign after this local timeout. So far, a defensive battle here through 1 quarter for the 1A state championship game. Unbeaten Lexington and 3 times beaten Tuscola. As you get a good look on a beautiful, bright, sunny day down here at Memorial Stadium in Champaign. The temperature today expected to get into the upper 40s, and Steve, tomorrow for 5 through 8, they're talking upper 50s and sunshine down here tomorrow.
Right.
So it is going to be a great weekend. We're already off to a great start here, and Pat Yoakum is going to be punting from inside his own 5-yard line here on the first play of the second quarter. Yoakum averages about 35 yards per kick, as you saw there on your screen, and this kick is away, and it's a pretty good one, and it's going to bounce, and Emberton is going to let it roll past the 40, and that is going to turn into a great kick for Pat Yoakum after a 25-yarder on his first attempt, a 47-yard punt with no return, and that was big. That changes the field position.
It really
just
does.
A little bit.
That was actually into a little bit of a slight wind. If we do have any wind at all, it is going left to right, as you see it on the screen. So he was punting into the wind. Well, let's see if Lexington can get something going offensively. As we talked about as some of our keys, you know, they've got to start throwing the football down the field, take some home run chances. And I know they're trying to ride that horse that we talked about in TJ Stindy, but I'd like to see him open it up a little bit more offensively.
38 yards of offense so far. Stindy up the middle, breaking tackles. TJ Stindy close to first down yardage.
You know, this is what you see out of Lexington a lot, though, Jim. This is something as we see some of the first quarter stats right there. Not a whole lot to talk about. Tuscola really did not have the football very often. Rushing yards, passing yards pretty much dominated by Lexington. We did have quite a few penalties there for the first quarter. Had 4 penalties. And you see the time of possession really didn't come into play there in the first quarter.
The first quarter statistics brought to us by Menards. Save big money at Menards. Measurement here as Mike Castleman and his quarterback will have a little chat on the sideline. And just short was Stindy. Got 9.75 yards on first down. A little bit over his average of 9.5.
Isn't that amazing? That's the thing, the stat, you know, I know the 3,197 yards are amazing, but when you know he's going to carry the ball and then for him to average 9.4 yards per carry is amazing.
What's happened lately is teams have really started to bring 9, 10, 11 guys up trying to stop Stindy, and he has broken his longest runs against defenses like that because the ball comes loose on this running play and it rolled forward, and Lexington able to cover it up as Jesse Kemp diving forward falls on the football here.
Well, you're going to see Chris Beard. I think he gets through this hole a little quicker than he thinks and takes a huge hit. I think it might have been Josh Brookins, number 30. Yeah, it was. Oh, that actually was TJ Onstott coming from his inside linebacker position, put a nice hit on Beard to get the ball loose. Lexington very fortunate to get the football back.
Boy, Onstott's a pretty good sophomore linebacker, is he not? Holy cow, he's everywhere. Stindy bobbles it momentarily and then fights his way forward inside the Tuscola 45 to the 44.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time we, or if ever, we had 2 key players to the game that are sophomores. I know in the past we've had maybe 1, but definitely not 2.
Yeah, sophomores for the same team.
Right, right.
As your key player, talking about Philip Meyer at quarterback and TJ Onstott at linebacker.
This Tuscola team is loaded with good young players.
2nd and 8, good look at Chris Beard, the junior, as he ducks in. It's tight formation, and Stindy's going to run to the right. And tackled at about the 42, landing on the back of TJ Stindy, Jared Baird, number 53. Baird out of his defensive line position, 64 tackles coming into the ball game. Baird, a 175-pound senior.
It's a good look right there at Pat Yoakum, their free safety, comes into this football game with a little over 40 tackles. Very aggressive player from his free safety position. And against this Lexington offense, he's going to have to come up and make some tackles today.
Yoakum has come a long way as a safety that has allowed the defensive coaches to put Gunnar Edwards at a cornerback position. And Edwards has excelled in that position. All-Stater this year as a running back and a defensive back as Beard misfires on a pass attempt intended for Mike Emberton down the right sideline, and it brings up a 4th down call here for the Minutemen.
Jack Leonard, number 52, from his defensive end position, puts a little pressure on Chris Beard. Jack Leonard, nice sized defensive end, 6'2", 220, and only a junior. They have 2 juniors up front for Tuscola defense, and boy, they got a lot to look forward to here in the future with this team.
Beard is now 1 of 5 passing. Jackson to punt it again, and a short one off the side of his foot, angling to the near side. It's going to bounce and roll out of bounds. at the 32-yard line, and just a 10-yard punt, and Tuscola will take over when we come back to Memorial Stadium in the second quarter. Penalty flag comes in, and we'll check the penalty here before we take her. Not a penalty, just a sideline warning. Sideline warning on Lexington's. We'll come back to Memorial Stadium after this local timeout. Stop in or call your local Monogles and order your IHSA Family Pleaser. Now down to the field here at Memorial Stadium for Scott Lever. Scott.
Thank you, guys. It's been an emotional month for Tuscola because head coach Rick Reinhardt lost his mother. 80-year-old Irene Sugar Reinhardt passed away earlier this month. You can see on the players' helmets here, they're wearing decals that say "In memory of Sugar," and they say she may have been Tuscola's biggest fan. Her daughter, Pam, her other son, Terry, with me right now. Pam, is that true? Was your mother the biggest Tuscola fan around?
She was. She has made it to all the games, all of Rick's games, even when he was down and by St. Louis. She would always go to the games, and when we were at Tuscola playing, Rick was playing, she never missed a game.
How does it make you feel to know the players are honoring the memory of your mother like this?
Wow, it means a lot. It kind of gets you right here in the heart. Rick was so touched by that, and it really meant a lot to him also.
Terry, you've got a button that says "In memory of Mom." How hard has this been on your brother coaching through all of this?
I feel sorry for the guy. He's had emotional highs and lows this last couple of weeks. This is his first trip to the finals. And Mom would have loved to have been here, and he'd love for her to be here. So he's been up and down, and I expect he'll fall asleep tonight and won't wake up for about 3 days, be my guess.
Well, the Reinhardt family, best of luck to all of you. Thank you very much. Guys, back to the game.
All right, we had a chance to talk with Coach Reinhardt before the game.
That fumble, we'll get back to the story, which is a tremendous story about Coach Reinhardt's mother. Lexington just recovered a fumble, and we'll have great field position. We'll see it at the end of the play. That ball pops loose, and let's see who comes in and gets that football. It looked like number 34, Dylan Miller, for Lexington, that recovered that football.
And another turnover, the third fumble for Tuscola here in the first half. And excellent field position once again for the Minutemen, but they've been able to capitalize on the first two turnovers that occurred in the first quarter. Beard wants to throw, firing for the end zone. He's got Emberton out there. The ball intercepted by Gunnar Edwards again.
Wow, what a play.
The All-Stater turns the Minutemen away once again with an interception in the end zone.
I mean, this is just athlete on athlete right here. And Gunnar Edwards just goes up and makes a great play. You see him stick the ball up in the air right there, show the official. I did catch that. Another very athletic play by Gunnar Edwards.
Gunnar Edwards, 4 interceptions the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
For that Tuscola defense. First down for Philip Meyer and company. Meyer, the sophomore, rolling right and wants to run, but can't find anywhere to run. And John Schuler was the first Minuteman. There you see number 1 to lay a hand on Philip Meyer. Meyer earned the starting quarterback position for Tuscola just before the start of the season when Judd Wenke broke his collarbone during two-a-days. Philip Meyer, the sophomore, thrust into the starting role. Of course, Judd Wenke is the son of former Tuscola coach Stan Wenke, and Judd's older brother was the quarterback of the 2 teams that Tuscola brought down here to Champaign in 2006 and 2007, and won a state championship in 06, finished 7th in 07, and John is now a redshirt freshman for the University of Iowa.
He's here today, and Stan, you don't see really on the sideline now, on the sideline of Tuscola, because he's up in the box helping Coach Reinhardt call the plays. As you see Coach Reinhardt and his players gather here on the sideline.
Blues Barbecue.
Wow, we need some of that up here in the
Sounds
press
really
box.
good.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't have much breakfast this morning.
It's going to be about lunchtime here pretty soon, my friend.
That's right.
All right, second down. Second down and 10 after the timeout called by Tuscola. Meyer from the shotgun, low snap. Under pressure again, gets away initially and then covered up near the line of scrimmage.
Lexington is really starting to bring their linebackers right there. Number 30, Anthony Fight. You saw him shoot into your screen. Was able to put pressure on Philip Meyer. Didn't get him, but forced Meyer to hang onto the football and lose a couple yards.
Right now, Tuscola with 9 yards of total offense in this game and 3 turnovers. Granted, one of the turnovers was on special teams, but this Lexington defense is dictating things right now.
Right, they've only run 13 offensive plays.
From the shotgun on 3rd and 10, Meyer has time this time, rolling to the right, and there's some room out there. He's got the 25 and tackled at the 26. Nice one-on-one tackle made by TJ Stindy. Not a bad linebacker either.
Well, that's a great point. We talked to Coach Mike Castleman early before the game, and you see it in the trenches right there. We'll let you take a look at that. But Coach Mike Castleman said, we're going to have to make a lot of one-on-one tackles today because they are just matching up man-to-man right now. And you saw a nice tackle right there by the defense as Tuscola once again is forced to punt the football.
Pat Yokoman to boot it. And the kick is away, and another pretty good one. His last effort went for 47. This one bounces, and Emberton picks it up on the far side, breaks a couple of tackles, and then escorted out of bounds, and Lexington will take over. With 6:53 to go in quarter number 2. The Hawthorne Suites in Champaign is located 4 blocks from Memorial Stadium with accommodations of nearly 198 rooms and renovated suites. All overnight accommodations come with a hot breakfast buffet, with a made-to-order omelet chef, indoor pool, hot tub, and fitness room. The Hawthorne Suites also has banquet facilities to accommodate any team meals or meetings before or after the game. Hawthorne Suites. First down for the Minutemen. And penalty flags again.
Dead ball. Encroachment. Black lined up in the neutral zone. 1st and 5.
So that'll be the 3rd penalty on Tuscola. Each team with 3 penalties here in the first half. We're about halfway through the second quarter as you see some of the Lexington contingent here.
Great crowd that we're going to have here today. Starting out with the 1A football game, Black Friday. A lot of people probably coming out of the malls and the shops here. What a great way to spend your afternoon and come and watch high school football.
Fumbled snap, and Beard, the quarterback, able to fall on it. It was 1st and 5 after the penalty, and let's take a look. Just some miscommunication. Looked like it was a pretty good snapback from Cole at the center, but
looks like Beard pulled out a little bit quick right there trying to get the ball. It looked like he was going back to TJ Stindy, as Stindy is the lone back in the backfield right now. But look at that Tuscola defense, Jim. Count the players right there. You got 8 in the box. They're going to force Lexington to throw the football. There's just no room for Stindy to run.
Stindy unable to get on track so far. He's got before that carry, he had 41 yards. And not much on that carry, so it's going to be 3rd and 6, actually a loss of 1 for Stindy on that last play.
Well, they've got the ball there on the left hash right now. Chris Beard, the quarterback, is a right-handed quarterback. I'd look for a little bit of play action coming out this way. I'd like to see Lexington make Tuscola guard the whole field. Everything seems to be up the middle right now. Look for Beard to get out here on some kind of play action pass.
They're going to toss it to the near side. Stindy looks for a cutback, breaking tackles, and he's into the clear. TJ Stindy, it's a foot race to the 20, the 10. TJ Stindy has set a new IHSA record for single season as he goes 55 yards for his record-breaking 46th rushing touchdown of the year. And there you see it on the screen. TJ Stindy breaking a record that had stood for 20 years, held by Billy Greenwald of Highland. How about John Kinzer from Peoria High School back in 1920?
In the 20s, right? Exactly. That's a great graphic right there. But TJ Stindy, number 46. What an incredible run that was right there. He had nowhere to run. We'll probably get a replay on that. Let's see if we can get the extra point.
And it is good as Emberton bangs it through, and Lexington draws first blood to go up by the score of 7-0. And we are going to pause here from Memorial Stadium in Champaign. Lexington is on the board just over halfway through the second quarter. We're back to Memorial Stadium after this network timeout.
Perfect.
All right, there you see TJ Stindy. Looked like there was nowhere to run with a cutback, couple of broken tackles, and then into the record books for number 3.
Number 46.
What's your idea
right
of
there.
financial security?
Good look at TJ Stindy on the sideline right there. He's going to get a break here only for a play kickoff. He'll come right back into his linebacker position.
And Tuscola will take over just across the 30. Gunnar Edwards on the return for the Warriors after that kickoff from Lexington. And there you see the scoring drive, and capped off by the 55-yard run on 3rd down by TJ Stindy.
What an amazing run. As you mentioned, he had nowhere to go. You got a little bit of over pursuit, and that's what you tend to do against a very good back. You're really anxious to get there. You over pursue on him. He cuts back, and Stindy's off for a 50-plus yard touchdown run.
The great ones do that to you, where
Right.
it's 1 yard, 2 yards, 1 yard, 2 yards, and then all of a sudden they're going for 55. And we've got a new quarterback in the ball game. Judd Winke is in the game for Tuscola, and in his first pass attempt, he fires to the right flat, and the pass is caught by Cody Shelmadine. And how about that?
Well, this is the offense that you've become accustomed to watching when you see Tuscola. They spread you out. They do like to throw the short, quick routes. Philip Meyer was struggling a little bit, and I even noticed that in warm-ups today. I don't know if it was nerves or what, but it's just a little bit of something that wasn't right. And they bring in Judd Winke, and let's see what Judd can do. Hasn't played a whole lot of football this year, but he is quite a talent.
He's been cleared to play medically, and Judd has played, like Steve said, very little this year. Would have been the starter, but he broke his collarbone during the preseason trying for the home run to Gunnar Edwards down the right side, and the pass overthrown and incomplete. And Judd Winke, as a sophomore last year, started in Waterloo, Iowa, for his dad, Stan, who was the coach for 1 year in Waterloo after leaving Tuscola after coaching for 14 years, leading Tuscola to the state championship game his last 2 years here, and to the playoffs 14 times. And as we mentioned earlier, his older brother John is now at the University of Iowa. Boy, and Judd is a big kid.
Boy, he is a big kid. We watched him in pre-game. I think they list him at about, what, 225?
6'3", 215.
Okay.
3rd and short here for Winke and company. Fires. He's got a man, Yoakum, for the first down. That pass had some zip on it. And that is the first down of the game for the Warriors, coming at the 4:31 mark of the 2nd quarter.
Boy, if you're Lexington, it forces your defensive backs now. You better get on a receiver, because with Judd Winke's arm, that ball is going to be there in a heartbeat. And the thing I like, Tuscola on the previous play threw the long vertical, stretching the field. They didn't complete it, but now it forces Lexington to guard the whole field.
3 receivers here for
Wow,
Tuscola.
you don't even have anybody covering the inside receiver in the slot right here. Look for a quick audible.
Winke looking in that direction, fires down the field. Gunnar Edwards had it in his hands and dropped it. That's not going to happen very often for Gunnar Edwards. The last 2 years, Edwards, the All-Stater, has caught over 100 passes.
That's right, 52 this year, 771 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He does a lot of special things for this Tuscola Warrior football team.
52 catches this year, as Steve said, 51 last year. 103 for his 2 years, the last couple of years. The only penalty flag comes in
Sideline
early.
warning on the black.
So both teams have now had their sideline warning. Next time that will result in an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. 4:01 for the opening quarter.
This is an interesting defensive formation by Lexington. You see them staying in cover 2, which means they have 2 rolled up corners and 2 deep safeties. The slot receiver for Tuscola on the right-hand top of your screen is wide open, as Coach Reinhardt is going to call a timeout.
Second timeout of the first half called by the Warriors. It is Lexington on top here, 7-0 on the 55-yard run by TJ Stindy earlier this quarter. And Judd Winke now in there at quarterback for the Warriors, and threw a first down pass. Tuscola, how about Tuscola not getting a first down until halfway through the second quarter?
Well, I'd like to know when the last time that happened. I don't think ever. But, let's credit Lexington's defense. They were playing some very good defense. And the turnovers. You can't move the football if you don't have it, and you're turning it over all the time. But great defensive effort by Lexington. They're going to have to come up with another one right here, as Tuscola, I think, has made a very good change in putting Judd Winke kind of as a changeup in at quarterback.
Absolutely, and as long as you're throwing kudos out to defense, how about kudos to the Tuscola defense so far? A couple of interceptions by Gunnar Edwards in the end zone, and this very easily could be 21-0 right now if Tuscola's defense didn't perform well after being put in short field situations. After the timeout, now 2nd and 10 for Judd Winkie. Winkie is a junior, and he wants to throw. Firing down the seam, and it's nearly intercepted.
Well, that's a touch pass right there that kind of got away from Judd. He had an open receiver, and I'm not sure. I think it was Paul Harrison right
Paul
there,
Harrison.
defensive back from his corner position, had a chance to pick that one off.
And Paul Harrison would tell you had a chance and probably should have picked that one off.
Well, Lexington now is 3rd and long, 3rd and 10.
Third down.
Let's see what Coach Reinhardt and company will do here. They're going to deploy 3 receivers. You see 3 going to the top of your screen. Gunnar Edwards split to the far right of the formation, the top of the screen. And Winkie firing down the field. He's got Edwards. First down and more. Gunnar Edwards is going to be wrapped up inside the 40, but not before he picks up first down yardage. And on a pickup of 13 yards.
Boy, great read by Judd Winkie. You see him step into that one right there. 2-man route. Had a guy going to the flat, one guy going to the post. He just read what the safety gave him and was able to deliver. You see right away, Judd Winkie, 3 of 5, already 28 yards passing.
So Tuscola looking to answer with a touchdown drive here. Winkie 3 of 5 since taking over at quarterback on this drive. Winkie firing for the home run down the field, and the pass was overthrown. Edwards was open, but they come up empty.
Boy, Judd wants that one back. This is one you got to keep in the field of play. I think Gunnar Edwards does have a chance to make a play on that. Would have gotten 1 foot in as the safety, Connor Kelly, number 22, was a little late getting over.
Winkie has had a broken collarbone and a sprained shoulder to have hampered him this season injury-wise, but throwing the football with some good zip on it here today. 2nd and 10. Winkie throwing again, firing deep again. This time for Yoakum, just overthrown. Boy, he has got some open receivers to throw to. The timing just a little bit off.
Probably a little bit pumped up right now, I would imagine, seeing his first action in quite a while. Just overthrowing a little bit. I look for Judd Winkie to settle down a little bit. Stan will be talking to him as soon as he comes off the sideline. You see Coach Rick Reinhardt talking to him right here and saying, hey, slow down. Even in the bubble that we went over and watched pregame, Stan was telling Judd, settle down, settle down.
9th play of the drive upcoming here on 3rd and 10 for the Warriors. All of the plays on this drive have been pass attempts. Winkie 3 of 8 for 31 on the drive. From the 36. And Yoakum making the catch inside the 30. It's going to be a short gain on the play and bring up a 4th down call for the Warriors.
Smart play call right there. They didn't need to get it all. I feel like they know they're going to come up and do a quick huddle and go for it here on 4th and about 2-3 yards. I like the play call by Tuscola.
And a hurry-up offense here on 4th down. 4th and short, they're going to go.
Straight man-to-man coverage by Lexington in the defensive secondary. You see those defensive backs turned inside on the receivers.
From the 29, Winkie firing off the hands of Gunnar Edwards and incomplete, and the Warriors turn it over on downs, pass a little bit behind.
You know, just
Edwards,
a little bit.
Just a little bit. Certainly, you know, Gunnar and Winkie are going to go talk, and Gunnar's going to say, you know, I was a little bit behind, but buddy, I should have caught that one.
I'm an all-state wide receiver, and I'm playing in the state championship football game, and this is a big first down we need. I got to make that catch. See the frustration right there on Rick Reinhardt's face. Wanted to keep that drive alive.
So after the turnover on downs, Lexington and TJ Stindy will take over at their own 29-yard line. Beard wants to throw on 1st down. Out of the pocket, firing deep down the field. The ball tipped away. Gunnar Edwards all over it once again.
Well, that's a place that Gunnar's had a lot of success today. He does have 2 interceptions, and I think they're picking on the wrong person. If I'm Lexington's offensive coordinator, I'm going away from Gunnar Edwards and throwing to the other side of the field.
That was probably an ill-advised throw by Chris Beard because the coverage was there and very tight, and Beard very fortunate that he did not throw his 3rd interception.
Chris Beard is only 1 for 7. He's had a couple that could have been caught, 13 yards.
Second down and 10. Stindy hit and then dropped. You can't stop after first contact against TJ Stindy.
No.
You got to hit him, slow him down, then hit him again. You might have to hit him a third or fourth time before
Better
he goes
wrap
down.
up too. He'll take the hit. He'll just bounce off you. You better wrap up those strong legs of TJ Stindy.
Stindy with 96 yards, 55 of those 96 yards coming on his touchdown jaunt. Lexington 3 out of 6 on third down here in the first half. This is third and long. They have been in third and long a lot here in the first half from a straight I formation. And it's going to be but Jesse Kemp, the fullback.
We're going to get a quick timeout call here with 1:43 left in the second quarter by Tuscola.
The last timeout for the Warriors. They want to stop the clock here on defense, give their offense a little time to do some business. And a punting situation for the Lexington Minutemen.
And that run right there puts Stindy right at 100 yards, 15 carries, and his long touchdown run.
I could see you in that haircut we just saw.
Yeah, I thought about it. I think the announcers ought to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Lexington has some of the best haircuts because when I went to practice, they've got purple mohawks, they've got white mohawks, they've got purple and white mohawks, they've got patchwork hairdos, and Coach Mike Castleman has a lot of fun with his players, allowing them to do that.
There's the Minuteman.
Boy, great crowd that Lexington brought with them today. You see a lot of the faithful there, students, fans, generations of people that have come and followed this Lexington Minuteman football team. What a great coaching tradition they had in Lexington. As you mentioned, Jim, this is their 5th appearance in a state championship game with 5 different head coaches. That's amazing.
Jim Manioni, Ed Moore, Hal Chiodo, Don Tanny, and Mike Castleman. 5 state title game appearances and 5 different head coaches. Also, no wins.
Now they'd like to win one, exactly.
Exactly. They're trying for their first state championship. Here's the punt from Josh Jackson. And the return out across the 45 to the 48-yard line. And Gunnar Edwards on the return, 32-yard punt, 6-yard return, and great field position. And plenty of time,
right.
92 seconds for Tuscola with Judd Winkie in there at quarterback.
Yeah, you've got the big arm of Judd Winkie at quarterback right here. Look for a little 2-minute offense, no huddle, as Coach Reinhardt will be signaling quick plays in from the sideline.
They bring Gunnar Edwards to the left of the formation, to the bottom of your screen. He'll be covered up by Dylan Miller. And penalty flags come in before the play gets started.
Well, I think you had 12 players on the field coming out of the huddle for Tuscola.
Dead ball, substitution infraction on the black, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
It's a substitution infraction. That's just 5 yards. If it would, now 12 men in the field is a 15-yard penalty.
Right.
So just 5 there, and it sets Tuscola up at its own 43-yard line. Wenke 4 for 10 since taking over for Philip Meyer. Wenke fires. Edwards has it over the middle. Breaking tackles into Lexington territory all the way down to the 36-yard line as Wenke and Edwards hook up for 21 yards and a Warrior first down.
Well, it's the same play they just ran on the previous 4th down and tried to get the conversion. Gunnar Edwards dropped the football. This time he hangs on to it, a little extra effort, picks up about another 10 or 15 yards on that play.
And Lexington is going to spend a timeout, their first of their allotted 3 here in the first half with 1:19 to go, and the teams will go into their huddle. Let's talk about Rick Reinhardt again and his losing his mom just before the quarterfinal game, and coached in that game. His team won it for him, and his mom very instrumental in bringing him back to Tuscola. It was her dream to always have Coach Reinhardt come back and be the head coach at Tuscola.
Yeah, what a phenomenal story. I went online and read that story. You know, they wearing the helmet decals. I've been a part of that when I lost my father. and we wore decals on our helmets. And there is something that motivates the players, and the players pay attention to that. They take it to heart, and I know that sugar is on everybody's mind. And to see the coach wearing the sugar pins and stuff, I mean, it's just wonderful. It's a great story. If you get a chance and you're in the viewing audience, go on and read about Rick Reinhardt's mother. It's a tremendous story, and one that's really carried this Tuscola football team.
Rick Reinhardt, longtime coach at Fairfield and Bethalto Civic Memorial in the St. Louis area. Also spent a year at Alton Marquette before coming back to his alma mater before last season. On first down after the timeout, Wenke has plenty of time, flushed out, now firing for the home run. It is going to be caught, touchdown, Pat Yoakum in the end zone for a Tuscola touchdown. It's a 36-yard pass play, and Tuscola an extra point away from tying up this state championship game.
Boy, and Judd Wenke took a huge hit at the end of that play right there. I almost thought they were going to call a personal foul. We'll see him roll to his left. Watch Judd Wenke's going to take a big hit there at the end of the play. And I'm not sure that Judd was actually throwing to Yoakum there. It looked like Cody Shelmadine was wide open in the end zone. But anyway, it's touchdown and 6 points for Tuscola.
All right, the left-footed Darren Timlin for the conversion kick and a tie. He's 39 for 46 this year, and the extra point is right down the middle, and we're tied 7-7. Oh boy, has Judd Wenke changed the complexion of this Class 1A state championship game. Now 6 of 12 for 95 yards.
Well, you just feel the excitement when he came in. You knew it was going to be a different Tuscola offensive football team. Watch this play. This should be a great view. We're going to see the hit again that Judd takes at the end of the play. Great throw on the run. And Tuscola, I tell you, they didn't have very much time on the clock, but they do get into the end zone.
And Pat Yoakum, the golfer, all-conference golfer with his third touchdown reception of the year.
The receiver, the defensive back, you know, he plays a little bit of everything, plays on special teams. Not a big kid, 6 foot 160, and he's only a junior.
Pat Yoakum says that golf is his favorite sport, but it's Tuscola. You have to play football at Tuscola.
That's right, that's right.
And Pat was fortunate enough to be able to play both. So do you think his week was kind of like practice, football practice, a little golf, round of golf on Tuesday, football on Friday night, you know, invitational golf on Saturday? A pretty busy young man.
I bet Coach Reinhardt let him do that, wouldn't he? Go golf practice over football practice? I doubt it, but you know what? He could play golf for the rest of his life. Right now, you got a certain period of time you can play football, and I'm glad to see him doing that.
And guess who's going to kick off?
That's right.
Pat Yoakum. He runs into your screen and kicks it to the near side, fielded on the run, out across the 30, and Harrison is going to be bumped out of bounds near the 35-yard line. And let's see, Lexington has a couple of timeouts. We've got 66 seconds to go in the half, a 14-yard return there for Mr. Harrison. And you see the scoring drive. Tuscola needs just 2 plays to tie the game up. The pass to Gunnar Edwards, and then the 36-yard strike to Pat Yoakum.
Well, if I think you're at Lexington right here, I just stay with my game plan. I wouldn't worry about having Chris Beard drop and throw. I would stay with Stindy on the ground. You never know. You know, he wears you down. He may break another one.
Beard is looking to throw. Flushed out of the pocket, and he's going to run. Beard's got the 40. And out of bounds near midfield. The clock will stop here. First down run for Chris Beard, 13 yards on the pickup. And that will be Lexington's 5th first down of this first half.
Good job by the junior quarterback getting out of bounds to stop the clock. The first down would have stopped the clock anyway, but he gets out of bounds, and now you do look to score. You have the ball on the 49-yard line. Plenty of time, just under 1 minute.
And remember the right foot of Mike Emberton. He's got range, you know, around 40, 45 yards or so. So if they get about 20 more yards, they might think about a field goal. Stindy hit and dropped. Outside of the long touchdown run, TJ Stindy has been contained by this swarming Tuscola defense.
Going to get a timeout. I think Coach is going to take it. Castleman's going to take a timeout here. 50 seconds left in the second quarter.
That will leave Lexington with 1 timeout to go. 50 ticks on the clock. As you see on the screen, it's going to be 2nd and 12 after the timeout. Mike Castleman in his 3rd season since taking over for Don Tanny for the Minutemen. 23-9 record for the Minutemen, as you see some of their cheerleaders. 3-6 last year. Did not make the playoffs for Lexington. Substandards by Lexington tradition, but in week 2, they came out and they manhandled a pretty good Gibson City team that advanced all the way to the 2A semifinals. And at that point, Coach Castleman and crew thought, hey, we could be something special this year, and here they are, undefeated in the state championship game at Memorial Stadium in Champaign.
That's right. They didn't have, other than Stindy and Colad, the center, have a whole lot coming back. They had some problems last year, a little bit of miscommunication between the offensive and defensive linemen. It's they just weren't on the same page. This year they got it put together, and look, they're here in the state championship football game.
2nd down and 12 after the timeout in a 7-7 tie here in the 1A title game. Beard under center, Stindy the single setback. Spread offense here. And Beard with all kinds of time. He's going to tuck it and run to the left. And tackle from behind, Josh Scribner making the tackle there. And let's see, 1 timeout left for Lexington, according to the scoreboard here. 35 seconds and ticking. It's going to be 3rd and long. Scribner sprained his ankle last week in the semifinal win against Jacksonville Rout. Only played, he's a running back too, only played on defense last week and hasn't played very much on offense here today either.
Right, Lexington not electing to call the timeout right here as you see the clock ticking down.
And Tuscola out of timeouts. And delay of game is going, no, the play clock was still ticking down. Let's check the flag here. Clock down to 9 seconds for the first half.
Dead ball, substitution infraction, 12 men on the field for black. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Let's see how that changes the situation. Do you put it up and try to get in field goal range here, or?
I think you have to.
Lexington is going to get the football first to start the 2nd half. They won the toss and deferred. From the 46, Beard wants to throw. Screens it out over the middle. He's got his man, that's TJ Stindy.
Oh, he's got a wall out here if he can get there.
Stindy's got the 35, the clock is at 0, and Stindy's gonna be wrapped up at the 28-yard line as the first half comes to an end. It's a 17-yard pass play, but the first half comes to an end, and we've been treated to an exciting first half here in the 1A state championship game. Lexington and Tuscola are tied 7-7. The long run for a touchdown for Lexington and TJ Stindy, and then the Judd Wenke to Pat Yoakum pass for Tuscola to answer. Both touchdowns coming in the 2nd quarter, and it is 7-7. Tuscola trying to win its 2nd state championship in the last 4 years. Lexington in its 5th trip to the state finals, trying to win its 1st state championship. And right now here at Memorial Stadium, let's go down to the field for Scott Leber.
Mike Castleman, the head coach of Lexington, is joining me. Coach, Stindy broke the big one for the touchdown. Other than that, Tuscola's done pretty good against the run. How do you loosen up that Tuscola defense?
Well, we got to be able to complete some more passes. I think that's going to help loosen up the defense a little bit. The coverage is really good. Number 1's doing a great job on our number 1 receiver, and so we got to find ways to get the ball downfield a little bit. And hopefully, he'll back off the linebacker, so we'll be able to run the ball.
Tuscola brings in Judd Wenke at quarterback, gives you a different look. How does that change things for your defense?
Well, we knew there was a chance he'd get in here to play if we were able to shut down their other quarterback. And so, we got some things that we've worked on all week for that, and so we'll probably implement those the 2nd half.
Thank you, Mike. Good luck 2nd half. All right, guys?
All right, 7-7 here in the Class 1A state championship game, Lexington and Tuscola. We will return to Memorial Stadium in Champaign after this local timeout.
It's a good one in the Class 1A state finals. Lexington, Tuscola tied up at 7. All the scoring has come late. We welcome you to our studios at the IHSA TV network. I'm Dave Bernhardt. Happy you've joined us here, the first of 24 hours of football. And here at the half, I'm joined, as I will be the entire morning and early afternoon, by Jason Kirby, the head coach at Sherrard. Jason's been with us for several years, and down at the end, the head coach of defending 1A state champs Triopia, Rich Thompson, joins us as well. And fellas, this game started, I think, at the 5:30 mark here of the 2nd quarter. At that point, that's when TJ Stindy goes in, and then Judd Wenke comes in for Tuscola. It's a whole new game.
Stindy is as advertised, but Judd coming in was a major point in this game. His ability to throw and to hit people in the open field has been a major difference in this game.
And I think it's just going to open up some lanes, the passing lanes, with his strength of his arm. Lexington's definitely going to have to go in at halftime and make some serious adjustments to defend his arm.
Well, one thing that Lexington was able to do was stick it in the belly of the man that they should. That's T.J. Stindy. Set a state record for touchdowns with his 46th touchdown, and he has shown us here almost 100 yards rushing. He's shown us that he's living up to all the billing that we've heard.
Yeah, amazing. Down on the field in the first quarter, his strength and ability to break tackles has been big. It'll be interesting to see how they use him in the second half. The screen at the end of the first half might be something they try to do in the second half as well.
I agree. He's the real deal. He's a great running back. I was impressed with his strength, and Tuscola's, as advertised on defense too, they're very, very good. They pursued the ball very well, and I think it's what the game was built for. His ability to run the ball against their defense has been impressive to watch so far.
Well, on the other side too, Stindy has been an awesome defensively.
Yeah, he has. There's been 2 or 3 times out on the perimeter where he's made plays that have maybe, if not for sure, been first down saving tackles. They could have been touchdown saving tackles.
We've got a lot more coming up here at the half. We have stats, we have highlights, we have more, and we have a great one. Lexington Tuscola tied at 7 on the IHSA TV network.
Many of our fans who are here in Champaign this weekend are staying at the Hawthorne Suites in Champaign, and joining me right now is the Director of Sales for Hawthorne Suites, Paula von Lanken. Paula, first of all, give us the location of Hawthorne Suites. Where do we find it?
We're 4 blocks, walking blocks actually, from the Memorial Stadium.
Why should folks who are coming down here to Champaign this weekend or any time make Hawthorne Suites their first choice to stay?
Because, well, we have the most rooms, 198 rooms. They're larger one-room suites, and they're all equipped with a refrigerator, microwave, and it comes with a hot breakfast buffet.
Now, I understand you have an interest in this first game, right? This 1A game, right?
Yes, I do.
Who are you pulling for and why?
The Tuscola Warriors. I'm a resident there and a fan, and I have 2 young boys that hope bring me here in about 4 or 5 years.
I'm sure you liked those last 7 minutes or so where Tuscola came alive there. Paul, thank you for joining us from Hawthorne Suites.
Thank you.
All right, let's go back to our halftime crew led by Dave Bernhardt. Dave?
Thank you very much, Scott. As we rejoin you here upstairs high atop Memorial Stadium, Dave Bernhardt, Jason Kirby, and Rich Thompson. Let's take a look at our first half stats brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards. You see the 118 rushing yards there for Lexington, 98 of those belonging to T.J. Stindy. Time of possession's evened up a little bit here.
Yeah, I think one thing you got to look at right there is Tuscola's only got 15 yards rushing. That really stands out to me. And going into the game, I was thinking they would run the ball a little bit more, but they only have 15 yards rushing. I think that's, that might be critical in the second half.
Well, let's look back into that first half a little bit in terms of some of the mistakes that were made early. And Rich, you were down here last year coaching in that state finals game, the 10 o'clock game, getting it going. There's got to be an awful lot of nerves going through everybody.
Well, a lot of nerves and just such a different schedule than you're used to. And it looked like both teams, especially Tuscola early, has some jitters with the fumbles and, and Lexington with the drop pass there. But I think the second quarter looked like both teams settled down a little more and started getting into more of a rhythm.
The play that the punter made to stop the ball from going over his head, I think that play is going to be a major key to how the second half goes. Making sure those special teams errors don't continue to mount for Tuscola. The dropped punt, the bad snap that he made a heck of a play on, and being able to rush the ball, as you said.
Yeah.
We look back into the first, quarter and a half, it was one game. The last 5.5 minutes were another game. The second half, what are we looking for?
Well, I think one thing we're going to have to watch is Chris Beard, the quarterback from Lexington, going to be able to step up and make some throws, because I do think Tuscola is going to continue to do the job on Stindy. I mean, he's going to get his carries, and he may break one, but I think some point in the second half, I think Beard's going to have to hit a receiver or two to open things up.
I think that Judd is going to be the story of the second half. It's really going to be interesting to see if they're able to run the ball. I think that they're going to have to run the football outside of him being able to throw it. And if they get ahead, that's really going to be something that's important for them, the ability to run the ball and move the clock.
That's what the second half's going to look like, according to our 2 experts. We'll come back, we'll take a look at highlights, get their final thoughts as we get set for half number 2. Minutemen and the Warriors locked up at a 7-7 tie. Halfway through the first of 8 championship games here on the University of Illinois campus. Lexington Tuscola 7-7 tie, both touchdowns coming in the last 5.5 minutes. A couple of stars for each team involved. Let's take a look at our halftime highlights early on in this ball game. Teams moving the ball in terms of Lexington. However, this is what would end it. Gunnar Edwards, the first of his 2 interceptions in the end zone, and then a muff punt recovered by, just inbounds, recovered by Alec Wasson. Lexington unable to capitalize on that turnover. And look out for a number 1 wearing a gold numeral in black. That is Gunnar Edwards. Interception number 2, both of them coming in the end zone. We're still scoreless at 0-0, but here TJ Stindy picked a spot, picked a hole, and that's right, nobody was going to catch him from there with 5:30 to play in the first half. Lexington, the Minutemen, go on top 7-0. But enter Judd Winkie. Winkie, the junior, 6'3", 215 pounds. He's mobile, he can throw, and on the other end, wide open on the touchdown catch, Heston Evelyn. The extra point is good, and with 1:12 to play in the half, we were tied at 7. I want to talk about Judd Winkie because nobody knew Judd Winkie this year because Judd Winkie did not play, and all of a sudden Lexington has to prepare for a second half of number 18.
Well, I think coming in they probably had heard about him, but not seeing him on film is a major deal. His arm is going to be a major player in this half.
Yeah, he's as good as advertised. We were down on the field. He's quite a specimen. And what an arm. He's got a rocket. I think you saw a couple drops just probably because of the velocity of his arm. And
right.
If they make the adjustments, he's going to play a major factor this half.
I think he'd be pretty tough to tackle if he ran the football as well. I mean, he's a big kid.
Yeah.
Well, you made the comment actually right before we went on the air that he strikes you as a Tim Tebow type.
I would, if he's capable of running in the second half, I would be willing to bet that they're going to run some Tim Tebow type action with him, where he gets a lead blocker in front of him, and on second down use him to make third manageable, because it would be pretty tough to defend everything that they're capable of doing on third down if it's manageable, when he can make second down get to that point. So I think that's going to be the down where you need to watch to see if they run him on second down.
On the other side for Lexington, they've ridden the back of TJ Stindy all season long. Why not do it for the final 24 minutes? And Rich, Stindy's a type of a man who can wear you down defensively.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. He's that strong type of runner. It looks like he just keeps continuing to get stronger as the game goes on, and he's definitely going to get his carries, and I would. You know, he's the one that brought him to the dance, and he's going to be a big factor. If he can break 1 or 2 second half, it's going to be an interesting next 2 quarters.
Jim Spencer and Steve Mays talked about in their pregame. Both coaches were a little bit nervous coming into this game as far as being able to score points, and then we saw 14 scored in the last 5.5 minutes. What are you looking for in terms of a possible final score, in terms of how many scores we might get?
I think both teams are going to put some touchdowns on the board in the second half. I think, as we pointed out right at the beginning, they were getting their nerves settled. The coaches, in all honesty, Coach Reinhardt being around for so long, this being his first opportunity to be in this game, I'm sure he had some butterflies. The kids pick up on that as well. As the game went on, both teams seemed to calm down a little bit, and we saw a little bit more of what we expect out of both of the two teams. I bet in the second half we see the same thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're settling down now. They're settling in, and I think it's going to be a great finish here. I think it could come down to a big mistake by somebody. I think it'll be a real close ball game in the second half.
Well, that's what we wanted to hear, because that's what we're feeling right now, because we are getting set for the second half. But first, let's go downstairs and let's catch up with Scott Lever.
Oh, Rick Reinhardt, the head coach at Tuscola, joining me right now. Coach, you bring in Judd Winkie. What a relief pitcher to bring in there right now. Were you impressed with the way he played, considering as little action as you've seen this year?
Impressed but not surprised. Great player, you know. The Winkies in football, that's kind of synonymous, and he's been in a little bit bigger game situations. Philip struggled a little bit, but he came in and did exactly what we thought he could do, and he did pretty well.
Assume he's your guy the rest of the game then?
Oh, you never know. You never know. We still got a long way to go. Whatever we can figure it out, way to control the clock or get the ball across the end zone. Doesn't matter really who the quarterback is, and both kids realize that.
Lastly, TJ Stindy broke one big one. Other than that, though, you're pretty happy with the way your defense has handled him?
Well, yeah, we did a good job turning him in. Just the people on the backside didn't come back and finish it off. And we told him, if you don't finish this guy off, he's going to take it to the house. He's a great back. He's been known to have great second half, so we got our work cut out for us.
All right, Coach, thank you very much.
Thank
Rick
you.
Reinhardt, head coach at Tuscola. We'll be right back after this network break.
Back in the booth, high above Memorial Stadium in Champaign. Jim Spencer and Steve Mays here with you. There you saw your score here in the Class 1A State Championship game. Lexington 7 and Tuscola 7. The Tuscola faithful here, not very far from home, about 30 miles down the road from Memorial Stadium. And they've been treated, both sets of fans have been treated to a great first half here, 7-7.
Right.
And the storylines here with TJ Stindy breaking the state record for rushing touchdowns with his 55-yard jaunt in the first half, and Judd Winkie, Willis Reed-like appearance coming off the bench. There you see Judd coming in, throwing a touchdown pass to tie the game up.
Absolutely. As the halftime crew mentioned, you know, all the scoring was done in that last 5.5 minutes. Pretty boring first quarter, actually. Both teams trying to feel each other out. Really didn't establish anything offensively. Both defenses played great. A lot of blitzing going on, disrupting the offense. But I think both offenses started to click a little bit, obviously later in that second quarter, and look for a little bit more scoring than the 7-7 we have here at the half.
A combined 5 turnovers in the first half, and you know, Tuscola is very fortunate right now, and credit their defense. Their defensive effort in the first half is huge, because it very easily, because of the fumbles and where those fumbles occurred, it could very easily have been 21-0 before Tuscola even got going.
Right, a lot of the talk up here in the press box is exactly that. It could have been 21-0, or they missed the field goal, at least 17-0, something like that. But, you know, lost opportunities for Lexington in the second half. We'll see if they can capitalize on that. And you see the quarterbacks there on the sideline warming up for Tuscola. It looks like it will be Winkie here to start the second half. And I think you have to go to him. Philip Meyer did a nice job. Looked like he was showing a little bit of nerves, I thought, Jim. But, you know, he's only a junior or sophomore. He will be an exceptional player for them.
You look at the strategy for Lexington here in the second half. What are they going to do offensively? They've got Gunnar Edwards blanketing their best receiver, so they're having difficulty trying to throw the football. It's not like they haven't tried to throw the football. They put it up 8 times, which is a high number for them. But outside of the long run, Stindy has been unable to get on track.
Right, and I think they'll, you know, they listen to Coach Castleman. They will stay with what got them here. You know, they sometimes look really boring for a quarter or 2 or even 3. Coach Castleman will say, but then all of a sudden Stindy will break off a couple, like you've mentioned a couple times in the first half. I think they'll stay with what they have done, and they will try and look to hit the home run.
Stindy on a kickoff return out across the 20. Stindy, look at that balance, out across the 25 to the 28, and that combination of things that some of the things we talked about, good speed, not great speed, great strength, good vision, and great balance. The great running backs have great balance, Steve, and we saw that just on that little kickoff return there by TJ Stindy.
Right, because, you know, you need that when you're taking that first hit, second hit, and Stindy always stays on his feet and gets the extra yards after that first hit.
Stindy with 98 yards in the first half. He lines up in the eye behind his junior quarterback, Chris Beard. Beard tosses to Stindy, trying to get him to the outside, and that play is going to be blown up again at the bottom of the pile for Tuscola. TJ Onstad again, his 7th tackle of the game.
Yeah, he is quite a player, and we mentioned his name quite a few times there in the first half. As you see Philip Meyer coming off there from the defensive secondary. Lexington came out in a different offensive formation right there. 2 slot backs right next to each other. Look for a little counter action off of that. They like to run the toss, which they just ran with Stindy, but they will come back with a counter action on that particular formation.
Stindy lost 2 back to the 25, and it is going to be a delayed handoff to Stindy. Stindy hit and dropped at the line of scrimmage. Tuscola's defense has been the strength of their team all season, despite injuries and the attention that their offense draws because of the way that they play. The defense has been rock solid all season long.
Well, I'll tell you what, their 2 defensive ends, Jack Leonard and Jared Baird. I mean, both, one's a junior, one's a senior. Baird's being the senior. You know, not very big. Baird's only 175. Leonard goes 220, but they are really active, and Lexington's having a hard time blocking them.
3rd and 12. Spread look here for Lexington. Beard on a straight drop, now rolling near side, firing the ball down the field. He's got a man fight. It's a first down out of bounds at the 41 and a pickup of 16.
You know, Fight had a nice first half there in the first half. I mean, he's got nice hands, made a couple nice plays, and that's a good throw by Chris Beard. I tell you what, I mentioned in the first half, he's got a nice arm. 2
of the 3 completions that Chris Beard has thrown in this game have gone to fight. Both have gone for first downs. It is the 7th first down of the game, and a little bit of running room here for TJ Stindy, straight up the middle.
Well, this is all a part of the game plan for Lexington. They like to control that clock. They'll try and hit a home run occasionally, but they just want to move the chains, control the clock, and Mike Castleman loves to do this.
Double slot look there for Lexington, a tight double slot, and Stindy looking for room up the middle. Pounds his way to about the 47.
I tell you, if you're a wide receiver for Lexington, you better be a darn good blocker, because they put you in that tight slot, as you just mentioned, Jim. You got to go out and block a linebacker a lot of the time, so you better be physical.
Stindy at 20 carries already, averages 26 carries per game. And if things continue to progress like this, he might get 40 carries here in the ball game today.
We mentioned in the pregame that we thought he had to carry it 30 times. He's well within that range right now. I'm imagining he will come up on the mid-30s for number of carries.
Emberton, the receiver to the top of your screen. Another receiver to the right. Beard looking to throw, fires the ball down the right side, and it's going to be out of bounds. The pass was intended for Mike Emberton down the field, and it's going to be 4th and 4 for the Minutemen, and they're going to bring sophomore Josh Jackson on to punt once again.
It's very evident that Tuscola wants to take Mike Emberton out of the football game. They have basically put Gunnar Edwards, their all-state safety, on him man-to-man, and Lexington has not been able to complete a pass to Mike Emberton.
Jackson punted 3 times in the first half, and a good snap and a pretty good kick this time. Gunnar Edwards is going to call for a fair catch and make it around his own 26-yard line. That is a 27-yard punt, no return. 9:08 for the 3rd quarter here in the 1A title game. We'll return to Memorial Stadium after this word from your local stations. Judd Wenke, screen pass to the right. Oh, Yoakum took a big hit, but he held on to the football.
Paul Harrison, I believe, from his corner position right there. Is Yoakum a little bit slow getting up? And I'll tell you, Paul Harrison's had a nice first half. Gets off that block right there, comes in, puts a shoulder on.
Boy, Harrison, just 150 pounds. Pretty big stick on there on Yoakum, and it's a pickup of a yard. 2nd and 9. Wenke 7 of 13 passing since relieving Philip Meyer at the quarterback position for the Warriors. 96 yards and a touchdown for the junior. Trips to the bottom of the formation, the bottom of your screen. Wenke flushed out, rolling near side, fires the ball over the middle to Edwards. Gunnar Edwards, first down and more, spinning off a tackle, and he's down, knee down at the 43, and a pickup of 15 yards, and Gunnar Edwards showing his athleticism right there.
Well, they weren't able to get him the ball much in the first half. They love these quick slants with him. Let him use his athleticism right there. He's pretty tough to go down once he gets the football.
How about the strength of the arm of Judd Wenke, rolling out of the pocket, rolling to his left, stopping and just flicking the ball with some zing on it, right, to an open Edwards.
You know, the discussion up here in the press box is Judd Wenke going to carry the football at all? Is it going to become like a Tim Tebow University of Florida offense where he's running the football, or is he just going to hand it off? I'm thinking right now, at this close a game, they wanted him to stay in the game. They're just going to have him hand the football off and throw it.
Wenke hands off to Josh Brookings there on that first down play. Not much on the running attempt, actually no gain to bring up 2nd down, and maybe just a little bit of a gain. 2nd and a long 9, call it. Clock ticking down there, you see it on your screen. We are 7-7, both teams scoring in the 2nd quarter. 55-yard run by Lexington's TJ Stindy, and a 36-yard pass from Judd Wenke to Pat Yoakum for Tuscola's score late in the 2nd quarter. Wenke on 2nd and 10. Flushed out, firing for the home run for Edwards. The ball tipped away and nearly intercepted. It hit Harrison after a deflection.
Off of Anthony Fight. He's got to do what he's got to do. He's got to go up and tip this a little bit. But if Fight doesn't get a finger on this ball's picked off. Judd would like this one back. That right there. Who was that? Harrison, I think, from his corner position.
Fight tipped it. Harrison had a beat on it, and it goes as an incomplete pass. So now, 3rd and 10, as the Lexington fans get up and try to spur their defense on. Tuscola responds on the far grandstand. Trips to the top of the screen. 3rd and long for the Warriors. Shelmadine in motion. Wenke under pressure, fires the ball. He's got Gunnar Edwards. Edwards working his way to the middle of the field, and he's going to be down close to the first down marker. Just couldn't wiggle away.
Boy, there were about 3 times you thought he should have cut up. He was very close to the first down marker. They're probably going to have to measure this one. Right there, you got to lower your shoulder and get the first down, but he's still trying to make a play, and they are going to stop the clock to measure.
What do you think in a 7-7 game halfway through the 3rd quarter? If it is short, is it 4 down go territory here?
I think you punt the football this early in the game. I mean, there's still a lot of time, 6:52 on the clock. Got to punt this football away.
Our officiating crew, led by referee Joe Stieglitz, stretches the chains, and he is just short by that much. What will Rick Reinhardt do?
Well, you're also in the state championship game. You don't get many chances to win a state championship game. Rick Reinhardt hasn't won one yet. Maybe he wants to go for it, try and draw him off, do something like that. Not a bad play either.
All right, here we go. The offense is on the field. And Meyer back in there at quarterback and under center for this 4th down and short play. And it's going to be a quarterback sneak, and there wasn't much surge up front.
Wow.
They continue to let it go here, and we'll sort it out, and this is huge.
I'll tell you what, on the delayed whistle, I think he is going to get it. On that first surge, as you mentioned, Jim, he did not have the first down, but a kind of a late whistle, and I think he's going to have just enough for the first down.
Going to measure this again. So trying to keep Wenke, not have him be in a situation where he's going to get hit. They brought Philip Meyer in for the quarterback sneak. And we'll stretch the chains out here. And it is going to be a first down by the length of the football for the Warriors. So the sophomore Philip Meyer comes in, gets just enough on the quarterback sneak, and the Warrior fans are happy it is a first down on the 4th down conversion.
Normally you'd like to keep Wenke in there in that situation, a 215, 220-pound quarterback.
Just fall over.
Just fall over, lean forward, do something. But they didn't want him to take a hit on his shoulder, and Philip Meyer was able to get the first down.
Wenke back in there at the quarterback position on first down. Fires the ball over the middle. It's underthrown and incomplete. Intended for Pat Yoakum, who caught the touchdown pass earlier in the game. You can tell the timing, with Wenke, and obviously not playing at all this year. Just a little bit off.
It is.
Just a little bit off.
But I like what Mike Castleman and his defensive coordinators are doing. They're mixing up their defenses. Right there, they just brought a corner blitz. They really haven't been able to get to Wenke with their front 4, so they're blitzing linebackers. Right there, they just blitzed Paul Harrison from his corner position, and he almost got to Wenke.
Lexington's defensive coordinator is Mark Frederick. There's a good look at Judd Wenke, the junior quarterback. Brookings on his hip to the right. Wenke rolling right under pressure and just heaves the ball. There's nobody down there. No receivers in the vicinity here, and the flag comes out. We're going to have an illegal forward pass. Intentional grounding on Wenke. Now, in high school, that out-of-the-pocket rule does not exist.
Does not apply, right. Well, we saw this, how many times do you see it twice in a game, but it is loss of down as well.
So it'll be a yardage penalty and also loss of down here. This Lexington defense being tested here by the passing game of Tuscola. Here's the penalty.
Intentional grounding, black, loss of down, 3rd down.
It's a significant yardage penalty as well.
Right.
Intentional grounding is one of the most punitive penalties in high school football.
Right.
And so you lose the down, you lose yardage all the way back to the 41.
From where the quarterback threw the football, absolutely.
Exactly. So it's 3rd and 23 for Judd Wenke and the Tuscola offense. From the 41, Wenke under pressure, TJ Stindy hit him, the ball's loose. And Lexington has recovered the football. Stindy knocked the ball away, and and it was recovered by the Minutemen. Falling on the football, Alec Wasson. Second time he's recovered a fumble in this game.
Well, we just talked about it. You know, Lexington's not able to get to Winky with just their front four. They bring a linebacker. Stindy comes in untouched, makes a great play for the football. Wasson, as you see him right there on the sideline, falls on the football. Great field position for Lexington.
Third lost fumble for Tuscola here in this championship game, and Lexington begins at the Tuscola 23 after the turnover. Here comes Stindy. Cuts back at the 20.
Fumble.
And he fumbled the football, and Tuscola's fallen on top of it.
Oh boy, a little indecision right there on TJ Stindy.
Matt Flume recovering the fumble.
You see Stindy right here. He hesitates just a little bit, trying to set up his blockers. Tuscola comes flying in, helmet on the football, balls out, and Flume, very opportunistic, falls on the football.
So the teams trade turnovers, and Steve, once again, Lexington with a short field opportunity against this Tuscola defense, and they do not convert.
How many times do you see this many turnovers
7
in a state championship
turnovers,
game? Right.
as you see there in the state championship game. Wanke back on the field after his miscue. He's going to fire the ball down the middle. Yoakum is there. Yoakum goes up, makes the catch, and falls down at the 48-yard line.
Lexington cornerback Harrison falls down on the coverage right there, but a great touch pass by Judd Winke. See this a lot of time. Lexington just plays coverage back behind. Yoakum took a big hit at the end of that play.
Harrison went down, and it's a 26-yard pass and catch. Wanke to Yoakum. And that is the 5th catch of the game for Pat Yoakum for 77 yards.
Big sigh of relief by Judd Winke when Lexington turned the ball back over to made a major mistake turning it over in his own 20-yard line and in. You can't do that.
Wanke from the shotgun. It's going to be an inside handoff and first down and more. And inside the 35 down to about the 33. And on the carry that was the quarterback. That was Philip Meyer.
That's right.
A 19-yard run.
Well, we've talked about him all year. You can run the football. Came into the game with 830 yards. Why not let him carry the football a few times? Big pickup for Tuscola.
And Tuscola continues to find a way with
right.
moving people around and shuffling players from position to position because of injuries and that sort of thing. Philip Meyer starts the game as quarterback and comes up with a big 19-yard run right there for a first down for the Warriors. 3 receivers to the top of your screen. Penalty flags come in. The play clock was at 0. This might be delay of game, and that is it.
Boy, sometimes that just seems like an awfully quick 25 seconds, doesn't it, right there? We're trying to look at so many things up here and listen to so many things. It was an awfully quick 25 seconds.
In high school football, when the ball is marked ready for play, you 25 seconds to snap the football.
Well, with all the things that Judd Winke's looking at and trying to read, the coverage, all that pre-snap reads, you know, it takes a little bit of time.
Meyer is in there at the running back position. He's going to get the call again, and he's tackled around the 36-yard line. Meyer, the leading rusher for Tuscola, coming in out of the quarterback position, 830 yards, 6 touchdowns, averaging a little over 4 yards per carry.
Good tackle right there by number 65, Steve Colat. Also the center on the offense. Boy, he's had a nice year. 68 solos, 28 assists, and 5 sacks from his defensive tackle position. He's had a great year both offensively and defensively.
2-yard run for Meyer there, 2nd and 13. Wanke looking right, screens it out. He's got Yoakum, and Yoakum has room across the 30. Wrestled down from behind around the 27-yard line. Making the tackle for Lexington was 22, Connor Kelly. Kelly out of his safety position making the tackle.
Boy, what a huge block right there by Gunnar Edwards, number 1. Had an excellent game today. Made a pancake for a block right there, and he might be down on the sideline right here with a little cramp. You see a player down on the far sideline.
3:56 as you see on the clock after the injury timeout. It's going to be 3rd down, and that does appear to be Gunnar Edwards. It does look like they're attending to a cramp there. You know, Gunnar Edwards is somebody you want on the field because he is a a key contributor to the success of this Warrior team offensively, but also defensively. He's got a couple of big interceptions in the end zone in this game.
He's made the 2 big plays. As you look at the game schedule coming up here.
Oh boy, I'm excited.
Oh man, it's a great lineup.
Morrison in the state championship game for the first time against Maroa Forsyth. That's the next game at 1 o'clock. We'll be back at 4 o'clock for what looks to be a great matchup between Stillman Valley and Tolono Unity, a couple of unbeaten teams. And how about tradition in the state of Illinois with our 4A game tonight at 7 o'clock. Geneseo, the Maple Leafs, back here in the state championship game. They'll take on the Metamora Redbirds for the 4A state title tonight. We got it all. We got star power when you look at TJ Stindy and Morrison here for the first time. You got traditional powers, Tolono Unity, and then looking ahead to tomorrow, when you talk about tradition,
there's a few names right there.
Joliet Catholic going for title number 14 in the 5A game. Providence going for title number 10. So this is a 24-hour feast of football that we're talking about here.
Well, it's going to be a perfect weekend as well, as you see the 7 and 8A matchups there as well.
Maine South going for back-to-back titles in 8A. So it is a great weekend. So, you know, get that lazy boy chair in your living room set. Get the snacks, the turkey sandwiches, and the chips. Get them all ready to go, because the IHSA television network is the place to be until 10 o'clock tomorrow night.
That's right. The shopping should be done. I mean, they open the stores early enough. Come down, sit down, watch high school football the rest of the day.
All right, 3rd down and 4 as Gunnar Edwards up and off the field. From the 27, penalty flags again. And a timeout. No penalty flags. Timeout for Tuscola.
Timeout, Tuscola.
All right, so we're going to step aside here. It's 7-7. When we return to Memorial Stadium, it's going to be a big 3rd down call for Rick Reinhardt and his Warrior team. I think Rick Reinhardt did not like the coverage that he saw out of Lexington there before that 3rd down play, called the timeout, and now let's see what happens.
Well, Lexington switched coverage again here on 3rd and short. Went back to their 2-deep zone.
Play action pass, and the pass off the hands of the intended receiver. I do believe that was Yoakum. It was. It brings up 4th down. Certainly 4-down territory here.
Right, a little high for Pat Yoakum. Judd just didn't get off the back foot there. Yoakum can make that catch, though.
So 4th down upcoming. It'll be 4th down and 4 yards to go. Line of scrimmage is just inside the Lexington 27-yard line. Tuscola 1 of 2 in this game so far on 4th down. 6th play of the drive. Into the flat. It is nearly intercepted. Nearly picked off by Dylan Miller, and he had nothing but green field turf in front of him.
Wow, what a chance he took right there, because if he doesn't make that play, Tuscola's off to the races, but that could have been a touchdown going the other way. As you see Dylan Miller there getting the congratulations from his guys on the sideline.
Miller, a senior, 5'11", 155-pounder, and the Lexington offense takes over on offense. Obviously, the offense taking over on offense, that would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll see TJ Stindy and company back out there taking over at their own 27-yard line. Stindy, 21 carries for 103. They fake it to him here. Under pressure, Beard in trouble, he's thrown down. Making the sack, Matt Flume. Recovered a fumble a little bit ago, and now a sack for Mr. Flume.
Well, they tried to run a little toss fake right here and get Emberton deep on a little post corner route. Tuscola didn't bite on the fake, and they were able to get Chris Beard for a big loss.
Loss of 9 brings up 2nd down and 19 for Lexington.
Tuscola, you see, staying with their 3-5 defensive look. Look at those 2 outside linebackers walked up. Once again, you have 8 people stopping the run.
And they get the pass to Emberton in the right flat, but he's covered up quickly. Emberton with his first reception of the game.
And remember, number 1, Gunnar Edwards, is out right now as a defensive back for Tuscola. They've brought in, I think that's Philip Meyer, the quarterback that started the football game, as the other corner.
Gunnar just came back in. He showed a little bit of a limp as he moves out, and he is going to cover up Mike Emberton, the fine receiver for Lexington, who is split out wide to the left in a trips formation. Beard under pressure, heaves the ball down the field. The ball is up for grabs, and it is going to be intercepted by Gunnar Edwards again. Edwards comes back into the game and records his third interception.
I think that was a great play also by number 8, Josh Scribner, the linebacker for Tuscola. You see him in the face of Chris Beard, and that ball is just up for grabs. Any one of those 5 guys right there could have caught the football. Gunnar Edwards picks off his third interception of the afternoon.
So Tuscola sets up shop on the Lexington half of the field at the 45-yard line. As Tuscola defense continues to excel. Now they put their offense in good position. Wenke from the shotgun, inside handoff, Philip Meyer, and he's going to be bottled up and tackled, and a little bit of a loss on the play. Meyer only a sophomore.
Boy, they'll have a little dilemma going into next
Yes,
season,
they will,
won't they?
because Wenke's only a junior.
Right. That's a tough call, but you know, Wenke's coming to this game late in the second quarter, and he's 11 of 21, 154 yards. He does have the 1 touchdown, but that's going to be a tough call for Coach Reinhardt next year.
Myers actually a converted wide receiver, moved from wide receiver to quarterback, and now playing running back here in the state title game. Tuscola mixing and matching and finding a way. Wenke firing the ball down the field, it's picked off. It is intercepted by Lexington, the 9th turnover of the game. Anthony Fight with the pick here, carries it out across the 40 to the 43. And turnovers back and forth with a minute to go in the third quarter. We stay tied 7-7. Defense is dominating here in Champaign today.
Boy, Lexington came with the corner blitz once again and forced Judd Wenke to throw it to the outside. This is just a great defensive call by Lexington right there, as Fight is just standing there. The ball hits him right in the chest, does a nice job picking up some yards after the interception. We do have a Tuscola player, no, that's actually a Lexington player down on the field. Might be number 30, Fight, who just had the interception.
4 of the last 6 possessions of this game have ended in turnovers. That was a Wasson, actually. That was, oh, I'm sorry, Dylan Miller.
Yeah, I take that back. I thought it was number 30. It's number 34.
Dylan Miller helped off the field.
This is a crazy game.
Yes, it is.
It's just back and forth, turnovers, big plays, big hits.
Well, Wenke had been close to throwing a couple of interceptions that were dropped, but does throw one there, and now off another turnover. The Minutemen take over at their own 43-yard line. That's a tight slot set again with Stindy as the running back. He's going to get the carry up the middle, and he pounds the middle of the line to the 45.
Hit by those 2 inside backers, Josh Brookage and TJ Onstadt. I'll tell you what, we've seen some great linebacker play. Both Brookins and Onstadt, sophomores. We'd like to have those 2 kids coming back for the next 2 years in the Tuscola program. They have just had a whale of a game.
We're tied 7-7. Total yards right now, Lexington with 168 and Tuscola with 167. Toss, Stindy tries to cut back, wiggles free, and carries 3 Warriors with him to the 50-yard line.
Wow, you've seen this all year out of TJ Stindy right here. He was hit about the 46-yard line, carried the defenders to the 50-yard line. Just a very strong kid. What an exceptional year he's had this year.
Brings up something that Lexington has not had very often this year as we begin the fourth quarter in just a moment. It's going to be 3rd and short. A big 3rd down coming up for the Minutemen when we return to Memorial Stadium in Champaign for the 4th quarter after this local timeout. (7-7) as we begin the 4th quarter. First play of the 4th quarter will be 3rd down for the Minutemen from midfield. Stindy. First down and more. Diving to the 43 on 3rd and 3. TJ Stindy picks up 7 and Lexington's 8th first down of the game. These 2 teams have combined for 9 turnovers here in the state title game. 7-7.
Been an awful exciting game for 7-7. You got to give a lot of credit to that offensive line for Lexington. Ryan Bessler, the tight end, Corey Wilson, the tackle, and Weston Gresham at right guard.
A little bit of hurry up here for Lexington. Stindy up the middle, not much. Stindy has 55 of his yards coming on his touchdown run in the first half at the 5:30 mark of the second quarter.
It's funny, there's a lot of talk going back and forth between these two programs that Stindy would not be able to rush for 100 yards against Tuscola.
He's over 100.
I think he's proven that fact.
25 carries, 117 yards for TJ Stindy. Here he comes again. Fights forward inside the 40. Tackled around the 37 or 38 yard line. There you see the stats through 3. Pretty darn even. Our statistics brought to us by Menards. Save big money at Menards.
The stats that stands out right there is turnovers, about line number 3 from the bottom right there. How many times have you seen 9 turnovers in a state championship game? Not very often. Pretty exciting game for 7-7.
Tuscola with its yards through the air, and Lexington getting their yards on the ground. No surprise there. Toss Stindy.
He's got a lane.
He's got the 35, and that lane closed quickly there, Steve, as he got to the 34. A pickup of about 4 yards.
You know, you've made the comment a couple times, Jim, how fast both these defenses are. From our vantage point, way high up above, there looked like there was a big lane right there for TJ Stindy. And man, did that thing close. A lot of speed and aggressiveness on both of these defenses. Neither of these teams are very big, but they really get after it on defense.
Well, right now, Lexington putting this game on the broad shoulders of TJ Stindy. And now it's 4th and 1, and they are going to go. Guess who got it? Stindy, hit, fighting forward, trying to get some second effort there, and
short.
It appears to be short from our vantage point. First time that Lexington has gone on 4th down here in the game. Lexington players think that they have held, and they have. You see the official call from referee Joe Stieglitz, and on 4th and 1, that Tuscola defense holds on downs.
Well, the reason I knew that was short is I saw Rick Reinhardt on the Tuscola side, like jumping up and down, pointing the other way like they were short. As you see a good look at Mike Castleman, Rick Reinhardt on the other sideline. Boy, I tell you, both these coaches are working hard.
And right now, Philip Meyer is in there at quarterback, and penalty flags come in before we get started here.
This could be a big penalty.
Dead ball, substitution infraction on the black. Ding.
That has been a problem for Coach Rick Reinhardt and company. 3rd time that they've been whistled for that here in this game. Very unusual for a program like Tuscola's to have that sort of situation. But we talked about because of the injuries and the things like they've got to shuffle players around and mix and match.
Yeah, we have quarterbacks playing running back. We have receivers playing running back. Quarterbacks playing receivers.
And they've negated that penalty. They've changed the call, and they got together and discussed it. So no penalty on Tuscola for a substitution violation. And Meyer is in there at quarterback right now. Meyer is going to run. Meyer gets 2 or 3. So Tuscola has used the combination of Judd Winkie and Philip Meyer here at quarterback. Meyer got a couple there. We're looking at 2nd and 8.
Second down and 8 at the 36 yard
approach
line.
the 9-minute mark of the 4th quarter here in the Class 1A state championship game at Memorial Stadium in Champaign. There you see the score. Meyer with 38 yards on 12 carries. On 12 carries. Most of his rushing yardage has come when he was in there at running back, and now running the show at quarterback. Rolling left. Meyer fires back over the middle. He's got Yoakum. Yoakum to the 45, to the 47. It's a Warrior first down. Pickup of 11 yards. And Yoakum with his 7th catch of the game.
He had a lot of time right here. Good job looking back. Yoakum just found an open zone and definitely got enough for the first down. Tuscola, I like the mix-up right here. They went with Winkie, stretched the defense a little bit. Now they're back with Meyer. They're going to do a little play action, a little spread here on offense. and have Meyer do a little bit of what he does best, and that's run the football.
Meyer is going to tuck it and run. Meyer to midfield, spinning inside the 50 to the Minutemen side of the field to the 48-yard line. Pickup of about 5 yards.
Good tackle by John Schuler, one of the outside linebackers, 5'10", 160, a junior. We know that he's playing injured. Even Coach Castleman mentioned, I'm not going to be able to play him on offense very much, and he's one of their weapons. You got to admit that, you know, Lexington's missing him on offense, but Schuler's really gutting it out and played some great defense here this afternoon.
Yoakum and Edwards, the receivers, they just walked out of your screen to the bottom. And it is going to be Meyer on a fake handoff. Meyer will run the ball forward. Pick up a couple there. Take a look at this one again.
Little fly sweep action right there. Looked like they were going to hand to the running back. Lexington's defensive line didn't bite on that. Kyle Taylor there from his defensive end, number 61, made a nice play.
3rd and 3. Tuscola needs the Lexington 43. A good look at the sophomore quarterback, Philip Meyer. Meyer on the rollout, fires the ball. He's got Yoakum again. It's a first down. Down to the 37-yard line. Yoakum makes another catch, a pickup of 9.
Boy, for only a junior, Yoakum's a pretty smart receiver. Look, he just sits down in that zone. Philip Meyer's able to find him. Just run a little flare route, a little flat route. Yoakum's had a great game.
Meyer seems to be a little bit more relaxed
right
in making his decisions at the quarterback position than he was earlier in the game.
What a tough decision that is for Coach Rick Reinhardt to pull him out of the football game. Winky hasn't played all season, but I think it was the right decision at the time. And now look what Tuscola's offense is doing.
Meyer's going to run again inside the 35 to the 34-yard line.
When I went out to watch Lexington practice this week out at Illinois State, they got out on the turf. One of the drills that Coach Castleman and his defensive unit did was the pursuit drill, where everybody's got to get to the football and touch the ball carrier. You notice how that's carried over into a game. They do a great job, Lexington does. 11 hats on the ball every single play. 2nd and 8.
Meyer fires down the field and underthrows the intended receiver. And Cody Shelmadine, the intended receiver there. Shelmadine, another junior. This Tuscola team is going to be a team that you have to deal with in years to come. They've got youngsters,
both
sophomores, juniors making big plays here in the state title game.
Freshman and JV programs didn't lose a football game this year, as we were talking to their assistant coaches before the football game. So a lot of positives for the Tuscola football team.
All right, and timeout for Tuscola before this 3rd down and 8 timeout. It's 3rd and 8 for the Warriors in a 7-7 tie, battling for the Class 1A state championship. We'll be back to Memorial Stadium after this timeout. When you order any family pleaser, which includes a 14 or 16-inch pizza, a family garden salad, and a pitcher or 2-liter of soft drink, and mention IHSA Monagle's Pizza, will donate $1 to the IHSA Scholarship Fund. Down to the field for Scott Leber.
All right, guys, joining me right now is John Winky, the older brother of Judd Winky, who has just returned at quarterback now for Tuscola. And John, you are a redshirt freshman quarterback at Iowa. First of all, your brother hasn't played all year. What do you think of the job he's done in there today?
He's done pretty good. You know, there's been a couple situations with some pressure and stuff that he's had to get out of, but for the most part, I think he's been staying poised out there. You know, I think he's doing all right. He made one mistake with that interception, but I think he'll get back after it.
See a lot of similarities between your style and his style?
You see the number. We're both pretty big. No, you know, I think he's going to stay comfortable, and that's what I always tried doing. That's what my dad tried making us do. I think he'll stay comfortable. We'll do well.
Your Hawkeyes 10-2. Where are they going to go bowling at this year?
I don't know. You guys probably know better than I do. But we'll see. We'll see.
Lastly, I see that Tuscola Letterman jacket still fits you, huh?
It's a little tighter. It's a little tighter than it used to be. But I don't know. Me and a couple of my friends came out here in them today and just wanted to support the guys. So we'll see how it goes today.
All right, John, thank you. That's John Winky. Jim, back to you.
All right, while we were talking to John Winky, his younger brother Judd fired a first down pass on a third down play. He's going to check back into the huddle here, and it is going to be 2nd and 10. After the first down pass, he tried to pass to Philip Meyer, who's everywhere. He's been a running back, a quarterback, and a wide receiver. And now Wenke in there, quarterback. 2 men were in motion there. Then the penalty flag comes in. The handoff goes to Philip Meyer, and he is bottled up in the backfield for a loss. And I would think that Lexington will be declining this penalty. You can't have 2 guys in motion at the same time.
Well, it looked cool, but you just can't do that. I saw a third flag come in here at the end of the play.
Kind of looked like Canadian football out there, Arena League.
Well, they're lucky they didn't collide with each other. You don't see that very often where they're going at each other.
We have 2 fouls on the play. We have a legal shift on the black, and after the play, a dead ball foul on the white.
It'll be interesting how they sort this out. Personal foul on Lexington. Now, because it was a dead ball foul, I don't think the penalty's offset here.
Correct. They will get the -5 yards against Tuscola, won't they, because of the 5-yard illegal shift, and then they'll have to take 10, 15 onto that.
Well, I'm just glad that Joe Stieglitz and company understand the rules, and they'll be able to and they'll be able to administer them correctly.
Leave it to them. That's right. I should shut up.
And this is a key call here with 5:33 to go in the championship game. Let's get the word here in a moment.
Well, see, even the officials want to make it the proper call, and I don't blame them. This is a tough one to make.
Again, we have 2 fouls on the play. We have a legal shift on Tuscola. That's a 5-yard penalty, followed by a dead ball, personal foul on white, half the distance. It'll be 2nd down.
So after all that, we'll end up with about a 2nd down and 3, 2.
So a dead ball, personal foul penalty on Lexington, and just like that, Tuscola is now in the Lexington red zone. It's going to be 2nd and 1. Line of scrimmage now the 14, just inside the 14. And Wenke still in there at quarterback. He's got 3 receivers to the bottom of your screen. Philip Meyer is the running back. Meyer's going to get the carry. Meyer first down as he dives forward to the 10. Let's see where they spot this to see if it's 1st and goal or not.
Well, I think that was Alec Wasser, number 55. I mean, he made a touchdown-saving tackle right there. Looked like Meyer, we're also going to give credit to 65, Steve Kolat. Looked like Philip Meyer had a lane to score there.
All right, so it is 1st down, goal to go for Tuscola. Wenke stays in there at quarterback. Takes the snap. It's going to be Meyer on the delayed handoff to the 5. Breaking tackles, touchdown. The sophomore, Philip Meyer, into the end zone. And Tuscola, with 4:41 to go in the 4th quarter, has tied the game, or not has tied the game up. They've taken the lead on a 10-yard run.
Boy, how much credit do you give Philip Meyer? I mean, the guy gets yanked at being quarterback. They put him back in at running back. When you know Judd Wenke's no threat to run, they turn around, hand it off to him, 10-yard run. And you don't see that many missed tackles by Lexington normally on one play, as Philip Meyer ran through the tackle of Jesse Kemp.
Meyer's 7th rushing touchdown of the year. Darren Timlin for the conversion kick to make it 14-7, and that kick is good, and Tuscola has taken a 14-7 lead here in the Class 1A state championship game. Philip Meyer into the end zone. We're back to Memorial Stadium after this local timeout. The Hawthorne Suites in Champaign is located 4 blocks from Memorial Stadium with accommodations of 198 newly renovated suites. All overnight accommodations come with a hot breakfast buffet with a made-to-order omelet chef, indoor pool, hot tub, and fitness room. The Hawthorne Suites also has banquet facilities to accommodate any team meals or meetings before or after the game. Kickoff bobbled by TJ Stindy. Stindy coming to the near side. Turns the corner and yanked down.
You saw the coaches from Lexington on that play wanted a horse collar tackle, but I don't think he got him actually in the shoulder pad. I think he just got part of his jersey. If we take a look at one of the Tuscola scoring drive right there, 11 plays, 66 yards, and a touchdown run, 10-yard run by Philip Meyer.
Philip Meyer on that drive played quarterback, running back, and wide receiver.
It might have been, yeah, exactly.
On that drive.
On one drive.
And he scores the touchdown to put his team ahead here in the state championship game. Toss to TJ Stindy, the senior, all-time leading rusher in the state of Illinois, tiptoeing his way up the right side and manages to get about 3 yards.
You know, one thing that I wanted to mention, Jim, you talked about it a lot in the pregame, is one of the keys to the game for Tuscola was to stay balanced. And you look at some of the stats that we've got here in front of us. They've thrown the ball 28 times, rushed the ball 25 times. So they've done a great job doing it. They tend to want to, you know, throw the ball a little bit more, but they've stayed very balanced with their play calling today.
Total yards for Lexington, 192, 143 of them on the ground. Second down and 7, and it's going to be Stindy, hit and dropped immediately. The Tuscola defense swarming again.
Boy, Trace Quinn, the defensive nose guard for Tuscola, didn't make the tackle, but he took the center and pushed him so far back into the play. And actually, that was Jack Leonard from his defensive end play with an inside stunt. Did a nice job. Tough situation right here for Lexington, 3rd and about 7.
Chris Beard under center. 3rd down and long for the Minutemen, down by 7. Beard under pressure gets away and fires the ball. Kemp makes the catch. He's got the first down. Jesse Kemp, the all-state fullback, makes the catch, and a great job by Chris Beard. He looked like Houdini. He got away.
Oh my. See the end of that play right there. Chris Beard was just under duress. I mean, he had everybody around him. Kemp does a nice job. That'll stop the clock to move the chains, and now it gets moving again. See the replay one last time.
How did he get that ball off?
I'm not sure. A little gunslinger, sidearm action.
A 9-yard gain. First down for Lexington. They keep the drive alive, trailing by 7 here in the 4th quarter. Beard wants to throw again, but penalty flags come in right away, and I think that Lexington moves.
Dead ball, false start, white, 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Boy, that's things you can't have happen here at the end of the game. As you see, Coach Mike Castleman not very happy about that call. That's the, I believe, the 5th penalty for 34 yards against Lexington.
And we've got a timeout on the field with 2:45 to go here in the 1A state championship game. It is 1st and 15 for Lexington. They trail by 7. We're back. 1st and 15 for Lexington. Trailing Tuscola 14-7 here in the Class 1A state championship game.
Boy, everybody in the stadium is on their feet right now. You look across at Tuscola on their feet. Lexington's on their feet.
Jesse Kemp throws the ball down the field. It's intercepted. Pat Yoakum with the pick, working to the far sideline. Yoakum across the 40, tackled there. Yoakum with his 5th interception of the year. And Tuscola leading 14-7 takes over on offense with 2:29 to go.
I like the play call by Lexington. They just underthrew the receiver a little bit. He was open initially, but Yoakum playing center field made a nice play and gets the pick for Tuscola Warriors.
On the first down play. Carry to about the 38-yard line. Meyer on the carry. Lexington 2 timeouts.
Right, 2 timeouts left. They're going to probably not call one here, but they'll be forced to call one on the next play, as Mike Castleman had to use a timeout earlier in this half. And boy, I bet he wishes he had that one back.
Lexington has been limited to less than 50 yards of total offense here in the second half by that great Tuscola defense. 2nd and 6. We're under 2 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter.
Philip Meyer just watching the clock. The play clock's right in front of him. He's going to run the clock down a little bit.
Meyer, penalty flag on the play. Meyer carries forward close to first down yardage, double check the flag.
20th carry of the afternoon for Philip Meyer.
I'm telling you, that young man has had himself quite an afternoon. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, defensive back. Potentially scored the game-winning touchdown. That's still up in the air right now. It gave them the lead. They're going to wave the penalty flag off. No foul.
Once again, they only had 10 players on the field, but they did have 7 on the line of scrimmage, so it was a legal play.
They're even getting it done short-handed.
They're so good they can play with 10.
It brings up second down and short here. Correction, third down and short. And we've got a timeout on the field. Timeout taken by Tuscola, I believe. I didn't see the indication. Clock stopped with 1:38 to go. And Tuscola with the ball, third down and very short here coming out of this timeout. Lexington took the lead in this game in the second quarter on the long run by TJ Stindy. Judd Wenke off the bench comes in, throws a late touchdown pass to Yoakum in the second quarter to tie the game at 7. We were there at halftime, and then here in the fourth quarter, the 10-yard run by Philip Meyer to give Tuscola the 14-7 lead in a game that has featured 9 turnovers, a high number of penalties. It's been a little crazy, but it's been fun.
It has.
And Tuscola trying to capture the state championship in Class 1A. There you see the trophy, trying to capture that baby right there for the second time in the last 4 years.
It comes down to this one play, 3rd and 1, and Lexington's not able to stop him. This football game is over.
Meyer under center, he's gonna surge forward, he's got the first down. Philip Meyer, the sophomore quarterback, surges forward on 3rd and short, and he is going to pick up the first down for Tuscola.
Now Lexington can only stop the clock one more time. Tuscola will take a knee.
95 ticks left to go, and the clock has been wound here, and Tuscola in the state championship game for the 3rd time in 4 years, and they're very, very close to being here 4 years in a row in a quarterfinal game last year against Triopia, the team that eventually dominated its way to winning the state championship. Tuscola had a 2-score lead with 3 minutes left in that quarterfinal game. Triopia came back, rallied, won the game, and won the state title. And now Tuscola comes back after losing 3 games during the regular season, and they're a couple of kneel downs away from capturing the state title.
Well, and your heart goes out to Lexington. I mean, this is their 5th appearance, as we've talked a couple times. They made it here in 80, 89, 94, and 2001, and it looks like once again with 40 seconds left to go, they're going to come up on the short end of the stick.
I think as you look at this one for Lexington, missed opportunities for Lexington early when Tuscola fumbled the ball deep inside of its own territory on a number of occasions in the first half, and Lexington was unable to capitalize and get points, and that has come back to bite the Minutemen.
Yes, it really has, and well, you can imagine there's one super fan looking down on this Tuscola team right now, and it's the mother of Rick Reinhardt, his mother Irene. Sugar is her nickname, and she's got to be looking down with a big smile on her face. This is going to be an emotional win for Rick Reinhardt and his family and the Tuscola Nation. You got to be happy for them as you see the celebration starting on the sideline.
Timeout with 36 seconds left to go. Lexington calling its final timeout, and one more kneel down should do it here for Tuscola. There you see the sideline, and there's Mike Castleman, 3rd-year coach for Lexington, hoping somehow that his team can get the football back. Tuscola in the victory formation here. I'll let Philip Meyer take the snap. He'll go to a knee, and he's going to run the clock down a little bit more. It all depends on when they spot this ball ready for play. And it is not going to be outside of 25 seconds. So Tuscola will not have to run another play. The celebration begins for the Tuscola Warriors. They are going to capture the 1A state championship for the 2nd time in the last 4 years as Coach Rick Reinhardt gets doused the 1970 Tuscola graduate comes back home and wins the state title for his alma mater.
Boy, how happy are you for that guy right there? I mean, he deserves this. This team deserves this. They've been through so many times. You've talked about it all game, Jim. Their injuries they've battled back from, all the stuff this team has been through. And every team goes through that. But you just love seeing that. And congratulations to the Tuscola Warriors.
Absolutely. You know, you look at a team with 3 losses, and
right.
You don't think that, you know, they don't have a chance to make a run. But in the Oka Valley Conference, the teams that you play against, they prepare you for the Class 1A playoffs.
No doubt.
In a great way, and they fought through and got the victory. We'll go down to the field right now. Scott Leber is standing by. Scott.
With Coach Rick Reinhardt of Tuscola. Coach, I bet the homecoming was worth it coming back home to Tuscola for all this, huh?
Unbelievable. You know what else happens? Our starting receiver breaks his finger in pregame. What's new, you know? But what an effort by these kids.
Yeah,
our defense, the turnovers, the plays against a great back, Pat Pierce, Andy Romine, all those guys, they're the best in the land, hands down. And I tell you what, I wouldn't trade our kids for any team in the world.
To come through all those injuries you came through this year, I've never seen anything like it.
Goes to show a lot about their character. A lot about the character, a lot about their upbringing. It's a good day in Tuscola.
And you stuck with it despite what you've gone through this month with the passing of your mother. What do you think Irene is thinking right now?
Grandma Sugar. Her name's on everybody's helmet.
Thank you, Coach. Let's chat with our Country Financial Player of the Game, Pat Yoakum. You had a touchdown catch, an interception. Sum up your feelings right now, Pat.
Oh, my God. I don't even know. Mind-boggling.
Your defense did a great job against Stindy. You know, he got through with the 1 touchdown. What were your keys to try to stop him today?
We had to stay with our guy. We had one guy, and if we did our job, we were going to win this game, and we stopped the run. 1 touchdown to nothing. We still won the game.
You guys were state champs in 06, state champs again. What does this mean to the community of Tuscola?
Pride, I don't know. Their fans love us. They're just going to keep cheering for us, and next year we're going to do the same thing.
Well, it's a great program you have at Tuscola. Congratulations, Pat Yoakum. All right, that's our Country Financial Player of the Game. Let's go back upstairs to Jim Spencer. Jim?
All right, Tuscola has captured the first of our 8 championships this weekend down here at Memorial Stadium in Champaign. They have claimed that prize right there with a 14-7 win over Lexington. We'll have more post-game coverage of the Warriors' state championship victory when we return to Memorial Stadium after this local timeout.
Place on the platform at the south end of Memorial Stadium. That's where we'll present the Class 1A first and second place individual and team awards. Making the presentations will be members of the Illinois High School Association Board of Directors, including Daniel Klett of Wakanda, Jim Boyd of Port Byron Riverdale, Ron Connor of Clinton, Paul Whittington of East Peoria, Board President Jim Woodward of Anna Jonesboro, and Board Treasurer Greg Bradley of Mount Zion. Will Superintendent Kurt Nettles, Principal Sean Berry, Athletic Director and Head Coach Mike Castleman, and the captains of runner-up Lexington, please join the presenters on the awards platform. Presenting the awards to Lexington will be Paul Whittington, Jim Woodward, and Dan Klett. A special medallion will be presented to the administrators, and individual awards will be presented to Coach Castleman and his team captains. the second place trophy
will be presented to the Minutemen of Lexington, who finished the season with a final record of 13 wins and 1 loss. Next will Superintendent Joe Burgess, Principal Kyle Ransom, Athletic Director Ron O'Hearn, Coach Rick Reinhardt, and the captains of Class 1A champion Tuscola. Please join the presenters on the platform. The special medallion will be presented to the administrators, and individual awards will be presented to Coach Reinhardt and his team captains. Making the presentation to Tuscola are Ron Connor, Greg Bradley, and Jim Boyd of the IHSA board. Now this year's state championship Class 1A team trophy will be presented to the Warriors of Tuscola High School, who finished the season with a final record of 11 wins and 3 losses. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the awards presentation for the Class 1A championship game. The Illinois High School Association thanks you for joining your team here at Memorial Stadium and hopes you have enjoyed your visit to the University of Illinois.
For the second time in 4 years, the Tuscola Warriors get to raise that big championship trophy, and they'll take it back home. We'll take a break. We've got more coming up on this one, plus a look ahead at the Class 2A championship game on the IHSA television network.
15.
21 points, 14 belong to the Warriors, and that's enough for the 1A state title. Welcome back to Memorial Stadium. Back high atop the University of Illinois field, I'm Dave Bernhardt, and joining me again, a couple of head coaches, Jason Kirby from Sherrard, 1A state champion. Now you're not defending anymore, Rich Thompson from Triopia. And before we take a look at the stats, what a great defensive game for Tuscola. They win this one thanks to their defense.
Yeah, Tuscola's defense never allowed TJ to get loose during the course of that game. Although he had 130 yards, 130 yards for him is a half normally. They did a nice job containing him, never able to get loose to the edge except for the one long touchdown run. I think that hurt them a great deal. Tuscola's defensive effort was wonderful today.
Rich, how about Philip Meyer, the young quarterback, receiver, running back, taken out of the game, and then he becomes a star?
Yeah, you got to have your hats off to that young man for accepting his role today. When Winky came in, it gave him a spark, but I was glad to see that they used Meyer the second half, running the ball at receiver and so forth, and it was really interesting to see how their coaching staff was able to use him and utilize his talents, and he's a weapon as a sophomore. What a player.
Let's take a look at the stats brought to you by Menards. These are your final stats here in the 1A championship game. Save big money at Menards. You see the rushing yards, 142 for Lexington, but as Rich Thompson just said, only 30 of those belong to TJ Stindy in the second half. And 185 passing yards for Tuscola pretty much set up what they did in the second half.
Yeah, I believe so. I think that their running the ball in the second half was a little bit better than what we thought it was going to be using Meyer, as Rich pointed out. But I think that their passing set up their running in a sense, and it was nice to see them to be able to do some things. And they certainly showed that Winky wasn't able to run the football with him only being in there to throw, and then reusing Meyer to do different things as well.
On that previous page, you saw 10 turnovers, 5 on each side. And Rich, you say, well, gosh, that's not worthy of a championship ball game, but it became part of the game.
Yeah, so, it's just the way it developed, and whether it was nerves or what it was, it's the way the game developed. But I think you saw Tuscola really settle in the second half, and they went with what they hang their hat on, and that's that defense. And they were very impressive in the second half, containing Stendy and just swarming the football. They are really impressive on the defensive side.
We featured him as our player of the game, but when you take a look at what he did offensively and defensively, Pat Yoakum for Tuscola picked up the pace, and he made it happen in the second half.
Did a great job making sure, put in single coverage out on the edge the entire game. Didn't let people shake loose for Lexington to be able to throw the ball. Beard threw a nice ball. He's a nice quarterback, but he didn't have people open because those guys were covering very well. And then, did his thing offensively for 106 yards receiving. Not a bad day.
Yeah, real good day by that young man. And that's the thing with Tuscola. They just seem to have a lot of weapons they can use, and he stepped it up today.
Well, and I think you mentioned, might have been during the second half, that Tuscola, an awful lot of people with 3 losses coming into this game, in fact, they were seeded 8th, would have thought, okay, well, great, they got to a championship game, but you're looking ahead to next year, and this is going to be an awfully tough team in 1A next year.
Very much so.
And you better worry about that, sir.
They're always on our radar screen, and we've met up with them the last couple of years. But just their tradition and just looking at their roster, what they return, pretty scary.
Let's take a look at some of our highlights here from this ball game. The championship game, Class 1A, just concluded. Of course, coming up, we have Maroa, Forsyth, and Morrison coming your way. This is Lexington on the pass from Beard, and down the other way. This was one of several interceptions, 3 to be exact, for Gunnar Edwards. He had 2 interceptions in the first half that came into the end zone. Then a pass the other way, picked off by Lexington on the return as we exchanged the turnovers in this ball game. Unfortunately for a Minutemen fan, they really could not capitalize on that particular turnover. But here's a young man who capitalized. We just talked about him, Philip Meyer. He started the game at quarterback. He gets that handoff from the 10-yard line. That is the game-winning touchdown. One final chance here for the Minutemen from Lexington, but there is Pat Yoakum, the interception that came with about 2.5 minutes to play, and that iced it, and it sent the Tuscola Warriors down to the south end of the field to pick up that state championship trophy. 14-7 winners today as Rick Reinhardt. That's a cold one today, I want to tell you that. And we saw Rick right at the end of the game, the head coach for Tuscola. He lost his mother a few weeks ago. So very emotional for the Tuscola grad, and his mother passing away, who was a super fan. It's one of those moments, and I know all the Lexington fans are saying, well, we wish we had the trophy. But really, what a great way to cap it.
Going back home, his mother being a real big reason why he took the job to come back home to spend time with her, and then getting to capitalize on everything that worked out for him. You have to feel good for Coach.
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate Coach Reinhardt. He's had, since he's come back and taken over for Mr. Winky, and to be able to bring a state championship back to your hometown, that's pretty impressive, and congratulations.
I mentioned it just briefly. Tuscola came in as the 8th seeded team. They had 3 losses after the regular season, but as you well know, all it takes is a 5-game winning streak at this time of the year. You get in, and you have a chance.
Well, one thing that Rich and I were talking about during pregame and when we were down on the field is how beat up they've been through the course of the year, and losing players, and yet still to be able to persevere and come through shows a great deal about the kids that they have in the program and their ability to make changes in what they do to continue to be successful.
Well, and obviously with the conference that they play in, we need to talk about that with 3 of those teams here today. They just prepare them so well for the playoff run. And like Jason said, they're very deep, on their roster to be able to plug kids in and just keep rolling.
That will be one of the themes throughout this 2 days, the strength of schedule and the strength of conferences. And as Rich said, it's pretty important when you have 3 teams from one conference down here.
Yeah, all 3 games right off the bat, we're going to see Maroa Forsyth right now, Tolono Unity here in a couple hours, and then just get done with Tuscola. So certainly their strength of schedule lends to them being able to play at this level over and over year after year.
And for Lexington, they will hang up that jersey for TJ Lindy, and with it will go a ton of IHSA records, to say nothing of some of the great numbers he had nationally. Again, it's so very tough. Lexington down here once again didn't come away with that big one, and it's so hard when that last game ends up with a little mark in the loss column.
I understand how you might have lost that game, but There were 30 other teams that would have done anything to be out there today, and those kids, although probably aren't very happy right now, will realize the amazing thing that they accomplished, being state runner-up, and to play as well as they did in this football game with that score, that shows a great deal about how well they played today as well.
But all the happiness lies in the hands of the Tuscola Warriors. They are your 1A state champions here in 2009, so they are packing it up. They are heading home, but coming up we have our 2A championship game. The Maroa Forsyth Trojans and the Morrison Mustangs will tell you all about it when we come back.